Okay. Yeah, hoping the people be here when you look there.
Do you want to table it?
No. You need to.
Could roll it up here.
If it means, if it's better for you.
All right, it's 5:30, so we'll call this meeting to order with a quick roll call.
Sue Erickson. Here. Ken May.
Here.
Joel Newman.
Here.
Sean Birdsall.
Here.
And Craig Conley.
Here. Any questions about the agenda, or can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Vote to approve.
Okay.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed, same sign. Abstentions. Any citizens here that have comment? All right, the consent agenda here, just our fireworks permit, same company. We've always used or have used historically. Any questions or concerns about that? Motion to approve if not.
Well, fireworks, I know. Yeah.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Jerry and Lindsay here to guide us through.
All right, I want to thank the city council for attending this special meeting on the budget. Also want to thank the department heads, and Lindsay and I met with most of the boards and commissions. Thank you greatly to the department heads. They've been very forthcoming and providing information in this process. The items that are in your packet for tonight are the schedule, which we're gonna hear from department heads. They're gonna talk about highlights of their budgets. They're also gonna be making themselves available for any questions that you guys might have. Starting at 5:30 with fire, and then we'll have ambulance in 30 minutes at 6. And if we get through a department budget before that 30 minutes, we'll just proceed to the next department that's scheduled. The next thing that you have is the details on the department expenses for which show how we ended 25, the current budget, which is fiscal year 26, and then the projected budget fiscal year 27. You've got the list of fiscal year 27 capital project items. Lindsay provided a sheet on that, and then we have the spreadsheets that cover the fiscal year 26 capital improvement projects, which are shown in green. That's a single sheet, and then the multi-sheet. The focus with the multi-sheet highlights the fiscal year 27 expenditure items. I'd say we're probably within 70 to 75% through the process, both capital improvement, planning and budgeting. Tonight's session is a work session. So we still encourage input on any information that's before you. Staff still needs to provide the property insurance breakdown. We've got a total, but we want to break it down on what the cost will be for the property insurance part of the fiscal year 27 budget. And we're still waiting to see what the impact will be from the state legislature on property taxes, because we know that they're going to do something to provide property tax relief to property owners, as well as some changes to the tax increment plans and regulations. I think you can kind of see department budgets somewhat taking shape. We know that the city council still would like additional information on excess revenues, rollover revenues. We'll provide that information when and as it becomes available, but any input that you can provide on capital improvement items that you are leaning towards supporting would be appreciated, so that we can start working on identifying grants that might be available, the scheduling and other funding options. And then with that, I'll turn it back to the mayor, unless you guys have any questions.
Clarity.
Yeah.
for tonight, primary is just to go through expenses, right?
We're focusing on expense,
Okay,
Yep.
don't want to get us off track.
starting with the fire department. And Brant's here, ready to rock it.
Maybe the easiest way is just, is there fire department line item questions for Brant off the top? Or do you prefer Brant to give a synopsis on anything that's out of the norm, or would you like to just ask the questions you have about fire department?
I'd like to hear what Brandon has for highlights.
Okay,
I think is important to tell us.
Well, I mean, if it's, I'm assuming it's through this year and moving on to next year, is that correct? Kind of.
what you could do, we're really talking about the budget for next year, starting July of 26 forward. If there is something that you'd like to update, as far as, one of the things that's been hard about this process, in my opinion, has just been, we're in the middle of a budget year that was determined previously. We know there's things probably in your budget or that were budgeted for that you still plan to execute between now and the end of the year. If there's a couple of those, which I think you guys have a few of those, I've heard, maybe just a highlight on that, hey, these are things that we're still gonna get done in the current budget year, but we're really, this will just be then beyond after July.
Yeah, there's just a couple things for this year. Our grass truck 612, we're looking to get it updated, getting some kind of off-road type springs, tires, suspension, and that sort of thing done with it. The good thing is association is putting some money towards that. But with what we have in our capital outlay or capital projects budgeted for this year, it should still be covered under that, but we're bringing you a sheet. I don't know if we're gonna.
He's got a quote and it'll be on the agenda for the next.
Next Monday,
Yeah.
wait, this coming Monday, okay.
And then the other thing is to get that front door fixed, or two, ones coming to Main Street. The west one was starting to fall apart. Mark's got that kind of. Buffered a little bit, but something needs to get done there, so. I don't.
Which an update on that is we do now have a scope of work that we can go and take to. Contractors and get. Good quotes.
Yeah,
To gauge cost.
That's just in the last week we've gotten.
but that's, hasn't been budgeted, so that's gonna be something that has to be amended, but it needs to get done.
It's both doors and walking, right? All three are double stations.
Just overhead doors.
Just the overhead, okay, other, there's getting cracks on the walking too.
I'm sure, when we're doing something like that, we can have them,
Look at
do
it.
some tough.
No, it looks good then, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's basically
Okay.
making the doors bigger, wider.
Yeah, so those are really the only major capital type things left for you this year,
Correct.
where you guys stand right now, barring an unexpected surprise.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Moving forward, we got some things on there for, our SCBA harnesses, gotta get updated, with,
That's probably the big ticket item.
for the most part, besides what is really on here that we're working, we got a truck committee, we're looking to replace 312. It's just doesn't quite do what we need it to do. So we've got a committee that's coming up with different quotes from different vendors and that sort of thing. Worst part about that, it takes 2 to 3 years, but you got deposits and this and that you gotta do beforehand, so that could be hidden, but it's gotta be approved by you guys, so, or the council anyway.
How much is it out of commission while we're doing those?
This 612 will be out for a month or so.
For, 6 weeks, I think.
But
The
the
field
new
truck,
truck
whatever.
will still have 312. This is for a brand new truck.
Yeah. Replacing an engine.
Yeah, the three twelve is doing what, an engine?
That's an engine.
An engine.
312.
Okay, so that'll be a, right, that it's out to, or.
Yeah, and moving back on 612, our grass truck, this is kind of the time of year to be doing something.
Oh,
Won't be
Grass
used so
fires.
much, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Something we should have done,
We've been talking about it for
Yeah.
2 or 3 years.
yeah, but
And it's finally
it's
just come
coming,
to-
so. But like I said, the new pumper truck is, the one we're replacing is 23, be 23, 24.
To 03, I believe, or
It'll be
01. Now, we do have one older,
Yeah,
but. Like many things, things that are older seem to be,
yeah,
Built a
seem to
little
be
better.
better.
they last. I mean,
It's easier to
it is.
operate,
It's just,
you know, easier to work on. We do a lot of stuff internally on it, so.
That's the world we're in.
Same. So, but just wanted to give, that's not on here, that, you know, obviously we'll have to come back and have a discussion on it.
But the 612 stuff is on here.
No, well, it's in this year,
It's in
there's
the
there's
budget for
money
this year.
that's in there for it.
Yeah,
No, just not
And-
specific.
Yeah, and we can talk about it. You said you have it for next.
for
agenda.
Monday, we'll talk about it.
We have more details
For the
on that,
8th.
so.
But that is a budgeted item, what we've in theory already approved
Right, I just
to be exuded, yeah.
don't know where to pull it out of on here when I'm looking at
No,
75,000.
No.
75,000 in.
it. Okay.
And it shows up
in the fiscal year 27 or 26, that 75,000 is where that would come out of.
Yeah, we did the extrication equipment, which was like 38 and. let's see what's in
That
there.
was out of fiscal, that was out of 25, so, so.
50, 26 technically, fiscal year 26,
Oh,
but
that was a Cascade. Oh,
the 25 to 26 calendar year.
Cascade, yeah,
compressor for filling.
Oxygen.
but there's still plenty in there to do this, and like I said, the association will be putting some money into.
The only thing that seems, just capital, projects, harness is 8,500. And maybe this is just because we're going through it the first time. Was that something you'd originally budgeted to do and yet this year between now and July
I don't,
in the last year's budget that we went through? Okay, all right.
I
So
think
that's
it's what
just-
it is the goal is to have them. I don't remember how many. We're gonna do 5 years, 15,
It says three, yeah,
It says 3 a year.
yeah,
so
so.
it's 3 or 4 a year.
Okay. Did you you didn't do some this year yet?
No.
This will be the first year of doing them and you'll.
We're not outdated.
Okay,
So
All right.
it is just to keep a good cycle.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's like gear, we have to replace it.
Yeah.
X amount of years.
The only other thing I noticed, just big differences, right? Obviously PPE's down a little bit, so that's just based on your feeling like you're in good shape.
Yep.
So reducing that
So
fiscal
that
year
is
27
on a
number.
rotation
Yep,
of equipment or of PPE per individual. So there's gonna be anywhere from probably 2 to 4 sets, depending on the year. That is on
okay,
that's on a 10-year rotation. Your gear is only good as
yep.
far as fire service tells you for 10 years.
I'm just
So it all
noticing
just kind of is a variable on when your people come on and off, you know.
if you have to add it or not. Okay,
And that fluctuates just too with,
I think next
say
year.
like
is
your
gonna be
Jerry
2
Weeks,
years.
he's not gonna get new gear because he's not gonna go himself.
Right,
So you're gonna put him off.
yep, okay.
Just to follow up Taylor's question on the harnesses. 8,500 a piece. Okay, you said 3 year. I didn't know if that meant $8,000 was right, or it would just be.
yeah, so they're like 2,500, I think, so we kind of budgeted high, cause they're gonna go up.
Yep,
We had 12,000 for fiscal year 27 for PPE.
Right, that was for gear.
and then I noticed, building maintenance is down. The request for fiscal year 27 is 2,500. I'm making the assumption because we have the capital improvement that's gonna need to be made, so the maintenance should be more of a steady. The big maintenance ticket is gonna be the fixing of the front, what you're doing there. Okay. I don't really have any other specific questions. What's that?
Why is technology only 300 versus 3,000? Is that a typo?
No, the 3,000 is basically for a new computer and pad.
But
It says
300,
300.
300, so that's.
In 27, it says you're
Right.
You're getting it.
It's not, yeah, that was. Technology would be,
Should that be 3,000?
Mm-mm.
300?
No,
pretty
they-
sure that was for the computer.
yeah, they're looking at a computer or an iPad or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
But that's in this current fiscal
Like
year.
telephone would include our,
So you're gonna get something like that before the end of the year, before the end of the fiscal year.
That payment from the agency.
Yep.
Is there gonna be any direction from the city to start pulling them into the 365 for the officers for emails and such? So they need to account for licensing, because I don't see any licensing on any other departments. For 365 memberships and stuff like that.
I think we've executed Public Works, right? So everybody has theirs. So the only addition would be the discussion about,
But those are annual licenses, so we need to make sure we have annual things in our technology line items, which I didn't see under, at least under city, I didn't have it, but I couldn't find it.
What is the annual license, do you know?
Uh,
I didn't have a dollar.
and then I think that's just a question. Currently, it's a good question. Currently, you have an email address. Do all your officers have an email address? Just the fire chief has an email address. I mean, I think it would make sense from the technology to have firechief@cityoslater.org, but I don't know that it's. What's the council think?
I mean, we all have our own email address too, so it's however the city wants to.
You're talking about a personal email, right?
Yeah, and that's what we use in the fire department.
I just don't know from a governance standpoint.
But Chad, you set up for EMS for all the staff to have a city.
All staff has that, and this has to have like EMS at slater.org.
If somebody comes in and, so did you get handed that fire chief email or you created it?
Created it.
So then if you think that's something that will pass through to future chiefs, in my opinion, I think the city should have it so that it can just be, we could control a password reset, we could move it to the next person for continuity. I know when I came in as mayor, it'd have been nice to been able to go through like all the old emails or some of that.
I don't disagree.
That would make sense from a transition standpoint, and then the tech support with,
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know.
People.
Every fighter.
Yeah.
I just think one person, right?
Like the command, just do the command, like
Then
Lieutenant.
I'd leave that up to the fire department, how far they wanna go out.
Yeah,
Or can the chief and assistant chief share access to the same email?
I think one chief email would make sense here. I know when we get into the,
MFA, you can't, you'll lock yourself out left to right.
Yeah.
So.
I think when it comes to the EMS, I think there's a lot more sensitivity to personal information, identifiable information and HIPAA protected information and that.
It's coming from dispatch, and so when they have to write reports, they're pulling it out of another shared email, so. Things that don't really cost, it's just configuration.
We would probably want to have two. Just have reports and,
I would say if you're gonna do two, you're gonna do three, I'd put your treasurer.
yeah. That's what I meant, yeah.
Like, yeah, I would say for sure, it's like
You
your
could have
treasurer
that.
should be.
What's the cost?
Wasn't it like 60 a year or something?
Wasn't that much.
I thought it was, I think the only question is there's two different levels. There's like cloud-based to where it's just, you just have email basically through, you can get it on your phone or whatever. Or there's the actual full license that gives you like Word and Excel and those programs on a computer. So if you don't have those programs or you do, but they're really, really old, then we could do a chief license that gave that to the computer and the laptop, and then we could give,
Very minor.
everybody else could have the online based stuff.
So it's $12.50 per person per year for the standard version, and that gives them the desktop versions of Office. For the basics, so that they are forced to go through.
Not $12.95 a year, $95.
$12.50 per user per month. I said per year.
Yep.
You said per year.
Yeah.
Per month. And then if you go basics,
44.
you're $6, so it doubles it. But that forces you like if Word, you're gonna open up an attachment, forces through a browser. I've been using both, cause I've got a standard network and all this other stuff and. I'm seeing that it's a little harder to manage with. Files and opening up attachments and so on and so forth and. Looking at them better than that type of stuff from the basic side versus just the basic side, so. Just depends on how much work you do with. Spreadsheet
Programs and
Word
stuff like that.
So, things to think about. That same question.
Yeah, because basically right now we have, I created the Chiefs one, then we also have a SFD or Slater Fire or something.
It's an old one.
And that gets all the junk mail.
I think the other,
And the reports. So
I
you
think
got-
the other factor too is you could still access that email from a personal computer. So if you personally had Excel or Word and those things, you could use those programs to open attachments from that, but
Down.
you just have to download them to do that, but. And save in or file share, that type of stuff will be more challenging, but
Never
At-
happens, yeah.
$144 a year at three people, I mean, $600 for that continuity. I don't- don't know.
$100 altogether, right?
Yeah.
It'd be 300, so we just need to up it to 600 for technology.
Yeah, if they're doing three of them.
And then any software you have on top of that you have to pay for, do you have anything?
One
Right.
main one and 2 emails only.
It'd be Office, but I mean, if you can.
Get it that
That's
way?
the thing, is it's a new computer, you know, we just use kind of the base email to register it.
Yep,
Everything. So how would? You know, with the MFA or the multi-factor crap,
yep.
to access that is gonna be a pain in the butt. For multiple people to access.
They'd each have, with the way we'd set it up, I think they'd each have their individual login, so they could all log in with their own login to that laptop.
Right.
So do we wanna up technology to 600 then?
I think we, agree that they can. Make budget for all those things.
For fire department.
Does that make sense to you, Fran? I don't know, you know, we don't know how those people use the
It
technology.
would need to be at least that, I'm just
Right.
thinking, you know, Jared usually enters, but then you got Todd also.
I think Todd too for doing all the grants,
Yeah,
Right.
be more professional coming from.
Todd already had.
and then you, if assistant,
Todd to go over its.
chief assistant.
Oh, so Todd has one
Todd
on.
already has one.
Oh, so,
Through E EMS.
Make sure all. of them.
but. If we're sending our reports. Unless we can get them to send them differently, they could send them to 2 different people. You know, right now, our reports just come to one.
And what, so our reports went to one email as well, some. I can't remember what, it was, some Gmail account that everybody had accounts for, and I kept getting locked out on that one. So I set up a shared email address that didn't cost us anything through 365 for. Slater EMS reports, and then county changed the email address to the Slater Iowa one, and so. Now everybody goes in here, likes their own reports and has access to them.
So we could configure something similar for you.
And that's free, that one's free, since it's a shared email. account.
Right,
So then all 3 would have access to see that email inbox.
okay.
Or maybe you want 4.
Think about it.
You never know.
Well, I would say this, I would say, why wouldn't we up the budget if there's consensus to the 600 and add the $300? You got 3 people under that, you got the access to the technology.
When I throw it in the spreadsheet, 3 people, I showed $450, so maybe it's because of the 50 cents per month per thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're adding $150 to the budgeted line item. Does anybody have concerns about that?
That 300 could. So it'd be there, so, yeah, I think that was just a number we threw in, just in case, so.
Let's move it to 450 if there's consensus. I hear consensus.
So 750 you're saying?
450,
450.
450 total.
Well, you need to keep it $300 in there.
Okay,
You already
So it
have
needs to
3.
be,
Okay, 750.
but his 3 is not earmarked for anything is what I'm understanding. It's just a technology.
Yeah,
Software.
For that, which we're gonna get that way, so
Okay.
just move it to 450.
450.
Do you have other software you would need that you can think of?
I mean, as long as it would long as it would put the software on the computer.
We're talking.
Others,
That wouldn't be,
This would get that.
Act 911 wouldn't be part of that technology, would it? No.
No, that's always in the memberships for.
Any other concerns related to, so we're making that adjustment based on consensus from the council and the fire chief. Any other questions about Brant's budget?
Jump on the gun, but instead of having that same discussion 12 times, I think we should just set everybody up with email accounts and.
And I think that's mostly been executed. It just would maybe the budget item. We just need to look at the line item to make sure it's a count. The only difference would be when we get to council, if we're gonna do that for council moving forward. Yep. No other questions on the fire I'm hearing. Jerry? Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right,
Ambulance is next.
perfect. Brant, thank you very much.
appreciate it.
Hi, Siri.
You said Jerry, I think you said Celia.
Period, said zero.
Yeah.
Chad?
So. This month, or this, continuing on with this year, some things that we're looking at. We have room in our budget, we're grabbing our, section U that needs to get replaced, battery science going on it again. After we replaced it, so it's gonna get us into a better unit. There's room in our medical supplies right now, so we're gonna grab that one on there. So that shouldn't have any effect on there. Other things we're looking at, we've had conversations about, better PPE for our providers during colder weather. We have a lightweight jacket. We don't really have a good heavyweight jacket. Kind of coupling that with responses to accidents and providing care and those type of things. We're looking at different PPE options for an EMS and extrication type of coat that also probably fit the bill for giving us some winter better winter coverage on that. So we're still working on that one as far as how that would look and any types of quotes or improvements that we'd have on there. And that has not been anything that we budgeted for or anything that is how can we make our people better and safer at events and I shouldn't call them events.
Incidents. Calls.
Keep us at scenes and so on and so forth. So.
Okay,
So that's where we're at on that. We've got a email out to BSI apparatus, trying to get some different ideas on what a cap for a pickup truck would cost for a configuration that was feasible for EMS. So we're trying to get a quote on that, just kind of see that would be on something like for a different vehicle to be allow us to carry more of the equipment that we need to carry. I don't have that back yet. I reached out there basically just trying to get an idea of what we're gonna be doing on vehicles, because our Tahoe's nice. It gets us from point A to point B. That we don't get to carry the stuff, everything that we're supposed to really be carrying and to take care of patients, stuff like that. That still would be like a secondary choice for a response vehicle for us. So a primary response vehicle that we would think would be more appropriate would be some sort of used or semi-used ambulance. Don't know where that's gonna fit because it all has to go with climate controlled parking, and that's always a dilemma with EMS right now. So we're shooting things back and forth, trying to get information so we have good numbers to talk with you guys when we actually start coming up with on different things. So that's where we're sitting at on those. I also reached out to an engineer about our building to figure out what's gonna cost to break up what we had for fire and EMS, since it's just not gonna be an EMS building, so then we can figure out what the cost of that's gonna be. So we'll see if he gets back to me or if we get ghosted by another engineer. That happened a year ago. We got ghosted on it when we were trying to get some stuff going there, so. That's where we're at for
capital things, yep.
going forward. Our budget really didn't change a whole lot. It grew a little bit in some areas and it shrunk in others. We don't have any major projects in our capital project there because everything doesn't have a priority on it in the city CIP plan right now. So that's where we're sitting. We did inherit a utilities line item that was new for us. We broke up a salary line item that was a conglomerate of other stuff. So based on the spreadsheet, I think we rose our budget by, I don't know, it's like $400 or something like that, or so 1% for this next 27 fiscal year. But nothing highlights as far as changing things. Is there questions?
What's your payments to other agencies? That's 3 times what was in the budget.
That is a conversation you need to have with Lindsay. I believe that we've got our radio maintenance or tower fees in that one versus a different line item where it was budgeted that should have been that equipment maintenance and repair budget. So I think we've got
Got it.
I think it's categorized wrong.
I did that with Brent also. Can we fix them?
So that particular one line item, that $1,600 or $1,500 there is a 8-hour. What is an ambulance cost us for standby if Mary Greeley was to provide us an ambulance coverage for 8 hours? So that all came out of when we had our issue at the 4th of July, and it was decided that, hey, we should at least know and have it accounted for should we need to do a standby.
So we could pay them to be on standby during the 4th of July.
And actually, I mean, as of recent, when I talked to him, when I went and got some information, a couple of months ago, Rich said, here's what it would cost. He goes, but you know, if you provide a place for my people to park and feed and water them, he'd do it for like $150. So it's like, great deal to have them have that in the email for when he wants to charge me the full amount. Say, hey, you said for $150, you can do it this way. But, so that's what it would
Okay.
cost if we were to have him pay his staff to come down here. They still put on shift staff down here at times, where like they came down for the standby for the fireworks, they happen to roll at the end, but they at least rolled in finally. If it's on shift crew, they don't charge you for it, but
This is additional.
there's only so many people that are on shift. So this would be like paying overtime for somebody to sit here for whatever goes on. That's what
Okay.
that particular line item's for.
Chad, when I look at, sorry, was somebody else talking? When I look at your 25 budget, it was 22,000 and change, and 27, 33,000 and change.
Mhm.
What? Why 50% more in 2 years?
Well, like you get
I did-
salary.
I'm just imagining someone would ask me that.
Mhm.
What would you say to someone who asked you that?
I would say, we increased our uniform expense for what it costs to actually equip people. We did increase our pay for people going to, calls over the last couple of years. So there's a bump on those things. And I really, training went up as
Training was
well. But, I can pull up my spreadsheet and see if I can find it, because I had a good spreadsheet until we did a new. What do you call it?
Start of accounts.
Yeah, that thing.
I'm not asking because I have concerns. I feel like these are the kind of things we're gonna be hearing from legislatures in the future. And I think it behooves us all to be able to.
Yeah,
Have the answer to.
I would say, if I was asked that, I would just quickly say salaries, a $3,000 increase. You have an increase of, if you look at that increase from fiscal year 25 of 4,000 to the tower fees of 8,700. You got 4 grand there. So there's 7 grand of your 11 grand. And then looking down just briefly at, the 975 on technology. So we've added technology to comply with HIPAA related compliance when it comes to incident reporting. So then I think that gets you, somewhere closer to 9,500.
We're parsing out.
No, I'm looking at 25 versus 27.
Okay.
I think a lot of it's made up in salary and
Look, we're
tower
parsing
fees.
out, we're taking what our general budget used to pay for all the telephones. And you're dividing them into all the different departments now. So they're all paying for part of that and utilities and all those things.
Things, yep.
So when you add that up, every department's gonna go up some
Some
amount
amount.
because of that, and
Mhm.
it just drops our general fund down because of that,
Yeah, so the 750 wasn't down in the 20.
And none of these have
Or 25.
liability insurance, general and liability insurance in them yet, so they're all still gonna go up from where they are.
Right.
Significant.
The training alone is almost 4 grand more.
And some of that's numbers too, isn't it? The numbers that you have versus what you had.
Oh, combined accounts.
People wise.
Yeah, I mean, when you get a higher, when you
You're gonna have more
you
training.
got more people on
Yeah.
the you're gonna have more. training.
That's a good point. There's another,
Because we didn't have. the
there's another
numbers.
30. So there's your 11. Yep.
Guessing in 20, we also did that, tuition reimbursement program, and that's part of that, the city one is that. Besides going to, conferences to get our CEH and stuff like that, we also established that, tuition reimbursement program a while ago to. Pay for the EMT program for new people for, 2 years of service.
Mhm.
Once they complete it,
Yeah, so that lies in that line item right there as well.
and that's ongoing.
Yes.
There is one thing that he doesn't have, and I forgot to bring up too, is that new LoSAP program. Which is not in here. It's a retirement thing
Oh, yeah.
that the
Mhm.
government's doing to,
Let's see.
yeah.
Well, it's kind of hard to add to a budget that hasn't been approved.
It's open.
But it hasn't been approved by the.
We gotta,
Right,
yeah,
We gotta.
So it's kind of hard. to-
Formalize it and then fund it.
It's not-
and we need to do that.
But we
Yeah.
need to,
But do we have any estimates of what that's gonna run? Or what that's gonna look like?
I thought we
Yeah.
had something.
basically, like, for the fire department, it's less than 42, what we're figuring is less than $4,200 a year. And that's if everybody, all 25 members meet the requirement. And
That's
it's only-
worst case scenario.
that's worst case scenario, and that's 106, what we have it figured is $167 per firefighter per year.
And that's city costs, cause there's also a match.
And then government matches, being we'd be under 100,000, they would match 3 times that amount. So it's basically $667 would go into retirement for eligible firefighter.
But then we have to establish like a 435 or 4 or something.
There's several things to get in order, but
Yeah.
knowing what I've heard from at least one other chief, before I do too much legwork in it, I want to make sure.
The council supports it.
Yes, so it
Yeah,
has to go through a resolution. And then, but we've only got 2 months to get it registered, so
yeah.
that started yesterday. Oh,
Well, right, but you're
Do we
also
have that
gonna
on
switch
our-
over a council.
Right.
When he got here.
Get it on our December.
Kind of the one thing is,
Okay.
we used to do budgets starting in January, so. then-
Anyway, yeah,
Kinda silly.
silly brought that
I mean,
up, but
you get-
it affects Chad.
3 out of the 5 of us that are looking at this but aren't gonna vote on it.
Right.
So,
Well, hopefully by the time it gets to the new council, we've pretty much vetted a lot of that, and it should be.
Yeah.
You guys are in somewhat really setting us up for what's gonna be the budget. I don't have any other for EMS.
Line down, using memberships. You've been spending more than the 16.25 you get for this year. Is that just reallocating places?
There's $3,000 off of the dues and memberships that went into the salary, so
Oh,
they broke
good.
that out there, so it's,
And
and the dues and memberships was. A conglomerate, it's a conglomerate of a whole bunch of different things, but yes.
I wondered if the way Lindsay mentioned all and stuff, the opposite side on the 4th entry, school and training. You haven't been spending that much in. Roughly double in 1,070, so you're up to 6,400.
The school and training I budget $250, or I'm sorry, $200 per person. For conferences and CEHs. That should cover the registration fees if someone wanted to go up to like Mary Greeley and get that, go through their update program and get that stuff. Cause every 2 years you have to have either 25 or 50 hours of continued ed. And then there's a $4,000 program, or $4,000 chunk in there. That's the EMT reimbursement stuff. So that gives me about, and I say about because it's not complete for 2 people. It was meant to, so I could send 2 people to EMT class every year. To keep people coming in the door.
So it should be that high, it's just.
Yes.
We haven't spent it fast. Good.
And should have 1 going through EMT class hopefully in January, since he gets approved next week.
So would there be a budget structure where we can, let's just take the 4,000, where if it doesn't get used in a year, we can have. The pots of money that we don't really like, but that could be banked. And so there's $4,000 sitting there. If we don't use it. In 26, then we don't have to set aside $4,000 in 27 because we still have it.
I think there's many ways you can do that. I mean, it's kind of a.
Yeah.
Which cups it under, in my mind, the way I see it. I also see it as an opportunity of like, okay, you did budget this, your run rate. Do you think you're gonna get to that 6,400? No, okay, Chad, we did notice on the small equipment capital that you were wanting to get some new gear. Since you're running under budget, it's on your capital improvement list. Why don't you get that done this year in the fiscal year and go ahead and get those? I would hope we'd kind of manage it that way a little bit as well. And then whatever's left at the end of the year, in my opinion, the theory would be it'd go back into the capital pot for us to determine like, does that help us get closer to another item that can move into the new fiscal year sooner versus not? So I'd rather kind of like to see it, in my opinion, on an annual basis, that in there, the what you need. If you use it, great. If you don't, then we look at, is there any imminent need you have? If there's not, then let's put it into that capital and deploy it as soon as we can.
You really hope you need more than that.
I'd be.
That means you're growing.
Exactly.
Ideally.
That means you're
For
growing.
sure.
And then I think as we track this,
Everybody has to remember, these are all guesstimates. It's so tough you're never gonna hit this to a T.
No,
No way.
Well, and I think that's where as tight as you can get it is best because you have your reserve.
It is, at the end of the day, it's still a guesstimate.
Correct, but you have a reserve, so going over this has no,
Yep.
there's no constraints in a causation that leads us over this number. Because we're gonna have a reserve and we're committed to a reserve. So as tight as we can get it is better. Then we have clarity on what we could do capital wise, knowing we have the reserve to backfill any
For
major
sure.
issue. But really, it's trying to make sure like, what money do we have to deploy to those
Mhm.
capital wants and needs for the city? I don't have anything else for Chad. Does anybody else? Thanks, Chad. Any questions on animal control?
So back to some of the same thing. Are we not, didn't we change? Or there was a desire to change to allocate even like some of. Jerry's salary for administration to parse it out to different departments. So that it, and it allowed us to bond for that, wasn't it, or,
We can do that. We can levy for it.
Levy.
There's levy for that. But also then, I
the
believe
fees
that,
still aren't showing those in departments, because that still doesn't show anything parsed out for that by department unless you're.
I can't say for sure, cause I think some of Jerry,
Yeah, I think I'm all general fund,
Right,
but in Prairie City, I'm spread out.
right, but then.
Lindsay
in the
can
same
answer the
thing-
question.
Sorry.
Lindsay, I mean, there was talk about
What's that?
changing some of that, and I don't see any of that on here. I mean, the only thing I see that's changed is utilities and insurance.
He's asking about my salary.
Well, but I'm just talking about all administrative salaries. We're looking at spreading that over all the various departments like we do utilities.
Nasha's
like we
is
do-
because she works in utility building and public works, so hers is spread out,
Mhm.
but yours and mine are.
Strictly city hall,
Overhead.
yeah. But we can if you want us to.
Well,
Is there advantages or disadvantages either way?
I thought that was the advantages it wasn't bonding, it was levy. Because you can levy it a certain percentage of that differently and it doesn't come off of your other levy
So you can levy for the employee benefits side
benefits, okay.
or fight only in general. So you cannot in proprietary, which is water, sewer and storm sewer.
Right,
Mhm.
right, we used a different term.
Enterprise, sorry, enterprise, sorry.
Okay, there we go.
Those are the only ones you can. So I do have that in the employee benefits
Oh, okay,
further on down.
but are they not, is it still split out by department?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the number.
But not in their individual budget.
Correct, because you levy for,
It's okay, as long as you addressed it,
Yep.
that's all I care about. I don't need to know the details.
You want it in there so that you can levy for it.
correct, I'm gonna levy for.
Okay,
it.
that's all I
Got
wanted to know.
Okay,
That's all I want to know.
Yes.
All right.
Job, that's all I want to know. I don't know the details.
okay,
I don't want to be able to cover for you.
no questions.
And just for clarity, then, even though we don't move the salary amount, we still can't move the benefits around.
So if this is salary for
City Hall, because right now it looks like
Oh.
all three of you are on City Hall.
just,
216.
That's low.
Nastia has like a really small percentage in it.
Okay.
If we took Jerry's and mine and then we added a little and then 7%.
But even if we don't move the salaries, we can move the benefits to the other. bucket.
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
I just didn't know if they were.
Okay, skipping over animal control. Unless there's resistance, moving into public works.
The library.
no, library,
Oh, sorry, I was just working down the sheet.
I know.
Library, the schedule. Library, Jen's here. Thanks for being here, Jen. Library, page 2. What we've done is anything related to. Is there anything else you wanted to point out before you leave about
Yeah, any
anything?
questions for?
Any questions for me? I'm sorry I have to leave. My daughter has an concert,
No problem.
so,
No, that's where
We'll find you if we need to for him.
yes, text me if you need me.
Thanks, Lindsay. What we've just kind of done is just, we just had the department heads highlight, is there anything capital wise that's that is in the budget we're in right now? Not the one we're reviewing, but we're in right now. Hey, you're gonna do this between now and June 30th. Anything like that of size? I didn't think there was anything that I didn't know about, but, and then just gone through the 27. If you wanted to just run through Jen for us and just give us any highlights about the budget, maybe changes or anything that stuck out to you or anything you've put in here. About your budget.
really. I mean, I'm here, I did bring a little easier for me to look at, I got this. Because it'll help you see the differences. I also have my annual report that I finished today that I brought with me. So that also shows you my income, because you don't see that on the thing that you're looking at. I think that's also helpful to see what money is coming in from the county and our contracts and things like that. I did have a question. Which Lindsay just left, and I can fix this for later. So this budget that I'm giving you does not match exactly. This is what the board approved. At that point, we did not know health insurance information. So I think Lindsay maybe has gotten more information on that she filled in, because those numbers are different. There's also two that got switched on here. I think it's a building ground and maintenance one, and utilities. I have opposite of what she has, so the numbers are the same total line wise, but I had 3,500 in building and grounds, which was no change. And then they wanted me to up utilities to 3,750, which you have those switched on the one that you have. So I was gonna ask her about that. Which again, no change to the bottom line. We budgeted a little bit for the general and liability insurance in ours, but she didn't have information on that yet, so we were basically just putting in what we had. And so she'll fill that in when they have that information, which you have it empty right now. But yeah, as you can see, I barely have a change at all overall. We went up where we could, went down where the biggest difference is 1,250, and that was going down in utilities. So, yeah, I mean, overall difference of 7,000 for what we budgeted, which was less than 3% change. So, the paid parking thing, that is not something that we put in there. That is something that Jerry and Lindsay had brought up, and that's just so I don't know what to, like, if we end up having to stay in the building that we're in, that's a possibility of something to do on the north side of the building, to take out the curb and to put more parking there. But I would not make that decision until we know what we're doing. We wouldn't waste that money on something if we're gonna stay there, or whatever. So, and honestly, like, even for our current programming, if we were in that building, you don't know that that's a huge priority, because it's about the same distance to walk from Main Street to that front door as it is to walk from that side too. And I think the biggest benefit to that would be the trailer park people, and not necessarily.
How come the utilities down 25%?
Yeah, and
I think that's because it's a category difference that you and Lindsay had.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then how about, is your book and print media gonna need to go up because you've lost your supply that was so economical?
no, I
Nope.
think we've just been able to switch that over, and it's the like Amazon and Ingram is another one, they're matching those differences. So it's Amazon, for example, just to try to grab all of that business, is doing, adding library services. They're doing Mark Records now. They're trying to, they really want that library business. So they're doing a full program in Amazon. So I think there's that. So
Yeah.
pricing is pretty.
I just knew that that was a
Pretty
significant, thought that it was gonna be a significant increase.
Oh, it's
The
right
other thing I was gonna ask Lindsay is, you don't have that in this one, but in the FICA, IPERS and health insurance, which is it has its own
Right.
section now. Those numbers don't match what I had, so I was gonna ask her about that as well, especially the FICA, I think it was.
We were just talking about that, and that's gonna be across all the departments, because it's categorized differently. It can be levied for, so.
Right, yeah, so
It's
when
different than the second.
especially the FICA, I had a question on, because she only budgeted at 14,750, 53, and I was under the impression we needed to have that at like a 9% of the salary line, which that's not enough to meet that, if that's the case, so I'm not sure.
We'll trust Sue and Nancy then.
Yeah, so I'll talk to her more about that and we can make sure, but other than that, I don't know if I.
Yeah. The only question I've
It
had,
should be about 9%.
the only question I've had is related to, so obviously what's being recommended for the budget when it comes to salaries is 4.37%. For an increase.
Well,
The-
actually, I went through and did every person's salary as it is, went through the hours that each person is budgeted for. And then increased that by 10%, which we're still down below because we aren't paying Danielle. So we were able to have cost savings there. So we actually budgeted for like a 10% increase.
Okay.
of what we use. But it's only a 4% increase here, because I did actual stuff, not just.
So you have more people, just less, it's spread across less cost to get the same staffing.
So
Okay.
Not more people, not less people, typically one major.
But less cost, okay, all right, perfect. I think that makes up any sort of difference in the total budget. Does anybody have other questions for Jen?
Just for OCD, the 30 grand on the bottom is not included in the goal.
Which makes total sense now, being that she didn't budget it, it was more of a recommendation, so. And I agree, I think as we get into a little clarity on what capital project it does fit and where we're going on terms of the library expansion or space or new building or whatever that is, how it settles out, that will be a more timely time for that discussion. Good. Anything else, Jen, you wanted to highlight? Could have just zoomed in. We would welcome that, obvious, anytime. Appreciate that very much.
Working on cups. Smaller cups, but
Since John's on it.
hard to find. Way down, it's about as small as I'm gonna be able to get it.
They just get spilled a second.
Okay, so you don't get messed up in the library. With lids, so it doesn't make a mess. We had a fun time last year, I guess.
Okay, Public Works we'll go to. Jonathan's not here, so we'll jump to Public Works. And then if we get through that, Mark, if there's park things, I mean, sure, a lot of the park budget's probably yours as well. And maybe if you want to go through some, we'll wait for Jonathan just in case he does show, but let's jump to your Public Works one. Thanks, Jen. Sorry to make you drive all the way over here for that. You too.
Thank you. You starting on the first page?
All right.
Yeah, I'm back.
Quick question, while back at animal control, but have we clarified with Slater Animal Hospital if they're gonna keep them? I think that was something that they had done for years, and I don't know if that continued or didn't continue, and nobody knew about that.
That I don't know.
Nobody knew if that was still being done or not being done, because fortunately, we have so few.
People are dropping them off there. I saw a post the other day that somebody was dropping one off at Animal Hospital.
Well, they'll-
Later Animal Hospital, but
What they'll typically do is keep them for the day, but then.
Call Story
then
County.
call Story
You're talking
County,
about
but
here in
that,
town.
but that takes.
Yeah.
Once it goes to Story County, it's on our bill, and somebody from our city is supposed to authorize that before that's typically been done, and but as long as if they're willing to keep them, or sometimes they would keep them for. If it's Monday, they might keep them for a day or two, because they're gonna be there the next day. If it's Friday, it's getting out of there.
yeah, I've never ever been involved in any issue with the dog yet in the 2 years I've been here, or animal.
No, it's just
But I'll reach out to them.
a matter of clarifying if they're still doing that or not doing that, or billing us,
Or whether they want us to recommend, whether, even if they want us to tell the public that or not, right? Like, do they want people showing up there with animals, or do they want us to direct people to call the county?
So far, we just had 3 cats that
Right.
the Story
Which you
County
can't
Animal
call the
Control.
You don't want the public to call the county.
The county won't take them. I mean, the county won't take those calls.
No.
You,
It has
Somebody
to come
from
through
here has to
the-
call.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet.
I had a dog from the dog park, I just locked it in the dog yard.
which is perfect place for it.
One called the number that was on their tag, but they at least had some, a number on the collar, so.
They must have got 'em.
Message. I assume so. It wasn't there the next day.
Okay,
So public work, I mean, this is just such a different format than what I'm used to, so this. Everything is just different, that's all. Way to put it.
yep,
Probably half of this is made up of public works areas, so.
Yeah, well, and it's just different line items. I mean, I went from 2 or 3 pages down to, 10 columns. So things are just, I guess,
Adjustment.
if you guys have questions to ask, and I'll try and answer,
let's hit real quick on
Yep,
remaining fiscal year that we're in between now and June 30th.
yep.
Things capital projects that you're still looking to execute that you budgeted for, or those,
We have a flatbed trailer that we're due to trade in our existing one. To a heavier duty
yep,
flatbed trailer.
that's a safety related thing, right? If I remember our
Yeah,
conversation about, or a conversation
Do our equipment.
to hold it.
I'm trying to think of anything else that was major. We put off the roof that was actually in this budget that we're in right now. We pushed that, kicked that can down the road till next year. Just to make up room for some other things that have come up to free up money.
Yep, perfect.
And truthfully, I don't even know what all that was. It's just been it's
To
been a
adjust.
whirlwind.
Yeah.
So.
Are you doing the dock this year? Before this year?
I don't think we're doing that now either.
Right, I just knew you'd talk about it, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
We have an auger, which is less than $5,000, which
Yeah.
would go on the skid loader and the mini, it fit on either one. But for public works, I don't know.
That's pretty much it, as far as sizable. And that's one thing Mark and I at least caught and talked about, and I think. We get through this and we survive, get this rolling. One thing that I think we need to do on the next go around or sooner than later is. Do a good job of maybe putting a definition on what capital item is too small to be on a capital list. Where's that line of like, hey, put this in a capital list or put this in a budget? And I think defining that is something that our council should look at and consider. I think we could align that with our purchasing policy
And also
or something.
equipment versus
Yeah.
is there a equipment thing versus a project, so.
Separating those two out from the standpoint of, that there's the rotations of maintenance or replacement schedules on items for like drivable equipment or usable equipment that way, and then the like physical construction or creation of something. So I think that's something to, at least the threshold on the capital improvement plan, I think Mark said that would provide clarity, a little better clarity for him as far as planning goes of like, if I know it's this, then I know I'm gonna have to report, I need to disclose, I need to talk about it in my capital plan. Versus I know I need to put in my budget. And I think that's a fair request for us to define it.
We got lumped into payment to other agencies that
Is that your radios?
went from 88,000 down to
that.
2,500.
Yeah. Radios are in there, which I just learned.
Yeah, the tower fees and stuff.
Yeah.
So Public Works, Fire and EMS all have the same P25 radio maintenance and tower fees.
And that's
Lindsay put them all in the wrong.
that's a elevated schedule every year or elevated,
Yeah,
Maintenance.
you're gaining.
the county's paying less, the E911 board is paying less every single year.
Yeah, this went down.
It's actually going down the way. Went from 90 grand to 32 grand so far this year.
2,500.
2,500.
Yeah.
So you're arguing the wrong direction.
I don't,
No,
hey, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a
where-
Lindsay question.
Like I said, this is
Yeah.
so different.
Like that's different.
Totally, and her and I sat, and then Jerry and I and Lindsay sat, so. It,
Yep.
it all made sense at one time. I'll say
Okay.
that.
So we need to get an answer on that,
Yeah,
Jerry.
I'm definitely look at.
So similar question on building maintenance and repair. Last year you budgeted 13, this year you budgeted 5. You did almost spend 600 year to date. But
So a lot of that is strictly our shop area.
okay,
And that's just that's an an item to throw in for maintenance. We don't know what's gonna happen, you know?
But it just got a lot smaller, that's why I was.
Yeah, and I think I think that was one that we had split out, you know, we had other things in there or different things and we combined that, so that's why it's 13,000. Well, we don't need 13,000 in that. So to look back on
I got you.
where we are now,
Some of the fiscal year doesn't align
not
category wise.
line up.
Yeah, she went back to the chart of accounts and reduced the number of underlying accounts. Yep.
Oh, it's as screwy to you as it is to me, so.
The new equipment, I guess we'll address that when we talk about what the threshold is for capital.
Right.
Say that one more time.
The new equipment, the tractor, 40 grand, the UTV at 15.
Yep, and those are both to trade in existing.
Right.
Um,
What the threshold for capital is.
yeah. And then the capital projects would be the roof, which we've already talked about, and then the asphalt parking lot is to hopefully eventually get. I don't know if 100,000 can do all that, but that's to get our whole shop area part surfaced,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
That number come from anybody with parking lots?
Not at all. If it doesn't cover it, it's a good chunk.
Yep.
You know, and I really think you can try to do it. For
I
that.
was just wondering, come from those guys driving around the red trucks this summer.
It could be. No, but no.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try them.
End up with an inch of asphalt in
Yeah.
the middle.
The minor equipment, the one in highlight or in parentheses, line painter, that would be. To have another painter to use. Or out of the sports complex down the road. It would get used for other things also, but. That's why that's highlighted. Or in parentheses.
Any other questions for Mark on that section?
Street cleaning got its own department.
Yes.
Street separate chart of accounts.
Lights.
Have you moved on?
Yeah, I'll move on to streetlights if you're ready. I don't
Yeah,
think there's
that's-
anything maintenance wise or anything new we're doing in there.
So streetlights, just quickly, streetlight, the maintenance and repair is. We have now started, I think we have 2 lights that need drivers. Drivers are for LEDs, they were incandescent, it'd be a ballast, same deal. So we have 2 out right now, they're actually 2 on order, they're about 500, 350 bucks a piece, something like that. Plus other maintenance, so we just threw some money at it, and then the rest is your regular street lights. Bill to align.
So these are obviously our own streetlights.
Yeah, the equipment maintenance is the ones on Main Street.
Oh,
We
okay,
own those.
okay, I got
Yeah.
you.
So that's ballast repair on those, and then that's just the bill. That's just the annual cost for our streetlights on the utility bill.
The
Yeah.
utility.
Yeah, I was thinking they own them all, I didn't think about.
Yeah.
Main Street.
Well, technically, don't we own all the light poles? Do we own every light pole
Well,
in
you're
theory?
paying just the utility.
Just the
on it.
use.
You do not own the light poles, you know, the wooden poles on the corners.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just
The
paying,
one, like the one behind my office got billed to me and.
yeah.
Was it on your property?
Yeah, cause you can request them on your property, at least you used to.
And
I-
so the city owns.
It's been there for.
The city owns as far as poles would be the ones on Main Street and then. I think the Park Circle. 10th Avenue Circle. I think
Oh, those are in the middle of those.
those 2
cul-de-sacs,
cul-de-sacs, Parkman don't, so.
You have a light down there by the city shed on a pole off the water
That
tower
would
somewhere in
be-
there.
Yeah, that would be ours, probably the. Grim Park parking lot, you
Okay,
know, anything like that would be
Outside.
ours, yeah, yeah. So there's a few others.
okay.
Street cleaning is the next one. this is a whole new category. It used to be, I think, in street road use, I think is what we had
Okay,
previously. So we broke it out by itself, motor vehicle maintenance probably is gonna catch your eye. I can tell you, hope it's typically been about 8 to 10,000 a year. We take it in every year and have it gone through. We've been typically about 8 to 10. It is there right now, and our bill is to get what needs done, not to put off. Is 25 this year.
And the city got it used, right?
Correct, it's a West Des Moines machine, which they took care of it, they took it there to where they bought it every year, we've done the same. I think every 5 to 6 years, you're gonna have a big chunk, you know, and this year's our big chunk, so. I think the 15 is conservative, but yes, you can go over that every, you just don't know.
your 25 will hit between now and the end of June 30th. We'll pay that bill before then, so that we'll amend
It is
based on
actually
that or
down
whatever
there
it
as
paid
we
it.
speak, ready to get worked on.
So then this is just kind of a shot in the dark on what we'll
It is,
spend next
you
year.
hope it's less.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, so.
Okay,
It's the payment to other.
$5,000.
Then why would other, well, it's on the street.
Well, I know what it is. It is to get rid of the sweepings,
Oh, okay,
to have it hauled away.
all right.
Yeah, that's what it was. And that's not cheap.
Yeah.
So. Whether
Is
it
that
be by
considered-
dumpsters or dump trucks, you gotta get rid of it. Yeah, so. So that's what that was.
yeah, please.
No,
There's a lot of love.
no, that's,
They don't cover as high.
no, you could. I started calling garbage guys, but we loaded one dumpster and they couldn't lift it. And I didn't even have a hat, or maybe a little over half.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy. I mean, it's.
And
Oh,
they-
sand and gravel.
all that stuff, so we had to dig some out, so I ended up,
Wow.
we're getting it trucked off by dump trucks instead, so.
So where does that go to?
Somebody's ravine.
Yeah.
Is what you need,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's tough to find,
Yeah,
helps to know people, so. So that's that. You wanna skip parks?
cool. Yeah, we can go, we'll skip parks and see if Jonathan shows up and then hit pool, yeah.
This one didn't change, I don't think a whole bunch. As far as normal stuff or line items.
Building maintenance and repairs down significantly. But we did budget maybe specifically for some repairs last year.
Correct.
Yeah, you've had deck repair, every year that now you're lumping into a big,
Yeah,
to a big.
so I can tell you, we've done the. Pressure testing of the main drain, it failed. I talked to CIT, which is Central Iowa Televising out of McCallsburg. This afternoon, hoping to meet with them next week to try and get some sort of quote together, what something like that costs to get that line. Our lights, we felt, us and the Pool Tech, the company, we all felt that the lights were probably leaking. And so they have taken all those covers off, plugged them with a watertight something. And they feel confident. So we feel good there. Now,
That they're not.
Huh?
That they are not leaking,
That they will not leak anymore.
the lights.
They probably, we think they probably were. But we believe.
They've made it so they won't in the future.
Yep.
Okay,
And this is the cover that the lights are gonna work behind?
No, the lights don't
The
work.
lights are gone,
Right.
yeah.
and haven't for,
But you have the
Right.
hole that's through there, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's fixed, so now it's a matter of getting our main drain lined and good, and we would be in a good spot as far as leaks.
And still no hope of getting lights
No,
that will ever work in that.
No. then the next thing would be to go and grind all the whole pool vessel
No.
and then shotcrete it. And you would just basically smear over all the lights. They would be you wouldn't even see them then. And you'd have a new surface. It would be dyed in that material, so you would not be painting. It's a 20-year deal if the city chooses to keep
This pool.
this pool, yes. So
We still have the
Something
rebar
like-
issue, so don't we?
we haven't lately.
What's something like that run? Ballpark or guess?
Ballpark, let's just say 250.
Thousand. And that's in the CIP for next year. That's
So now you're,
That's the resurf, that's part of that resurface.
That is, yeah, it's a shotcrete with a, not fiberglass, it's
Okay, so really isn't much deck. You're not doing much deck then.
not right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think you can get by fairly minimal on decking yet,
Okay,
and there
I
is
thought there
some
was
that
quite a bit
needs
of decking
done,
there.
and we do a little patches here and there, but. It's gonna come to a year where you're gonna do
yeah,
big patches, not small patches.
I think the question that's facing us on this is just, do you keep patching it or do you? What do you, when do you make a
What do
decision
you
about
want?
continuing to patch it? Replace it or do something different or not do nothing? Or get rid of it? Which I don't think I'm hearing pretty resounding, don't get rid of it. It's a great amenity.
No, I don't either.
But-
Unfortunately.
But yeah, well, I don't think you were here when I mentioned that because many of you weren't here for this, but that pool, if you ever talk about replacing it, it's not gonna get replaced where it's at. You're gonna have to completely recite
Cause of the
Correct.
soils.
a place and
Which
everything.
would be good. I mean, that could create a good.
Ideally, yes, you're right.
You can,
I agree.
you can call it a good thing, but it's gonna be a really expensive good thing.
Yeah.
To build a new pool, you mean?
Yeah, and then when you're talking about running all new everything.
Oh,
For
certainly.
sure.
Everything costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Or for $250,000. Believe it actually fixes it for 20 years. You're the one said 20 years.
That's what they told me.
Didn't they say
when I-
like a
when I was
50-year?
talking to.
That's still.
A
assuming
50-year
all stay.
lifespan
Don't-
with that.
That's
Coding?
madness.
They don't have any control of that.
That's just.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just talking about-
that's what he said when I met him this summer when the pool was there. He's like, oh yeah, you can do this, blah, blah, blah. You know, I haven't talked to him since about that particular.
Okay. I didn't know if you were
Part
talking
of the
about
problem.
doing stuff or salesman.
Yeah.
He's a kind of a little, yeah.
Okay.
I just mean if the wall kicks out, when you haul that chunk of wall out, it'll still be blue. And
Still water off of it.
I mean, it's one that I would love to get talk to him more obviously but he excited me a little bit about,
Okay.
the most I've been excited about that pool for a long time.
That's awesome. It's not cheaper than a new pool. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And it's what they specialize in.
Yeah, it's what they do. They're a pool.
Okay.
I mean, that's all. So,
It just comes down to how long,
yeah, I think that's.
how
a
much of the what
question
if
for-
game do you wanna play?
That's a
Yeah.
question for the town and the council. Okay, how, do you want that pool to stay there or I think Slater's always gonna have a pool. I think that's good as me as a resident. I think it sucks as me as a employee, but,
Yeah.
that's a fair statement.
Yep.
But it's where, and location, so.
I think one
That's beyond
thing
me.
that we need to make sure we get is. We need to get some sort of indication as to what a new pool costs. And so if Snyder, somebody's done some recent stuff that's not West Des Moines, Waukee, Ankeny, any of those places.
You would call Burbach and say, hey, what's a pool?
Would be a good
of
indicator
X
to
amount
know
Cost,
what you're talking for a small town pool like ours with the basic amenities that you put in.
Fiscal year 27 or 28.
I'm not so worried about fiscal year 27. I just would have to know that figure. I feel like this council and the future council needs to know that figure or a rough figure to even evaluate whether you want to put 270 grand in there. We all assume it's gonna be way cheaper to do that. But I don't, it's a shot in the dark, in my mind. And that's a figure that helps you make a good decision.
Oh, I think it's double that.
How much?
I think five.
I think it's five, I think it's 5 million.
You think it's 5 million to put a pool in? With bathrooms and house and everything, yeah.
I bet you'd be all.
More, yeah, I would say, I think it'd be
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that'd be on the, probably the low end.
5 million.
and we're gonna need to put zero depth in this time, so.
Yeah, it'd just be good to have an indication and some examples of projects that they've done.
And if you keep the same we have, you have to have a slide like we have.
Same size.
Do all that.
I'd say a square foot, you wanna stay the same.
I wouldn't even ask them for, I wouldn't even ask for square footage. I'd say, what are the last 3 pools you've built? They have, where are they and what they've cost? And then you could just look at them and say, hopefully they built one in the last year somewhere, or I don't know, small towns like ours aren't building them brand new anymore, so.
No,
But it'd be interesting to
Cause
know.
Roland, what, 3 years ago, just
They did it,
redid their,
yeah.
Oh, they
find that
redid
cost.
They didn't know.
no, they,
To compare.
We could find out.
They're just lining them, I mean, they're just sticking a liner in it and then.
yeah, I think
trying to
they
get
did,
another
I think they
20,
might
30
do
years.
zero depth and stuff, I don't know that for sure, but.
We can find out, but I think it's a good figure to have an
Oh, right.
indication on. 5 million seems like a lot of money, but it's like,
well, Huxley's splash pad
It
was
was almost
$750,000 or more.
yeah, I think there's probably a lot of questions about that by a lot of people, but. If you could put a pool in your backyard for 200 grand. You think of the multiples on that for a pool that's, 4 times the size of that. Now you're getting into $1 million. It just seems like a really big number to me, but I understand it's. A public project,
Well,
so obviously it's gonna cost.
Your pool is one cost, your bathhouse is another,
Bathhouse and,
yeah,
you got $1 million tied up in
yeah.
structure.
Yep,
One last question, Mark, utilities bill.
For pool,
And if it's, well, it's 5, that means you got 1 million in engineering that you don't have for a backyard.
2024
Oh,
Marengo
yeah.
built a
Yeah.
new pool for
Forgot about that.
3.8 million.
Favorite thing.
2022. We're at
24.
We've got
3.8 million.
because you're always
2 more months.
but yeah, that seems.
Iowa Valley Marengo.
That's
Plan between
Yeah,
the numbers. Amazing.
This one,
11 last year. I'm gonna ask.
Yeah,
The public might approve a bond for that,
No, right.
70%.
for a pool.
Combining and multiplying and.
I had somebody that's so anti
Yeah,
one
those are
project, they looked at me and said, we need to spend our money on things like the pool, and it's like, have you ever been to the pool? No, but we need that for the kids. Interesting, okay.
that's a big.
All of the state changes.
Whatever.
It sucks right now.
Whatever. It's working really good before.
Okay. Cemetery, Mark, anything there? Nothing crazy,
No, nothing.
just some shifting that Lindsay's doing, it looks like, with a little bit of fuel and some of that stuff,
Yeah,
utilities, okay. What else, road use or
John,
road,
you look for a packet.
Yeah.
Right here in the corner.
Yeah, right here. Cemetery, any talk about land acquisition for that would be?
so we had a pool or, geez, sorry, cemetery meeting. Couple, what, a week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it was brought up, that, something needs to be done. There's what, 150, something like that.
That's roughly what we counted it, when we,
Yeah.
about 150.
150 lots left. I just know in the 20+ years I've been here, that newest part went from
10,
1 stone to, half full now.
we use 10 to 15 a year and it's in that whole.
yeah. With
So it was
150
discussed,
open.
and I think they need to talk to the Thompsons and
Yeah.
see, or if they do, or the council needs to, or something, that's to be discussed, obviously.
But where, is there anybody got contact that's? Anybody talked, thrown it out there and see how flat it falls or if somebody's
Not for quite a few years,
farming around corners?
not for quite a few years. And the thing is, you could, if the city would buy it, not that you need to develop
Oh, no.
land, plots now, I mean, they could farm it all, but to have possession of it would be,
Yeah.
I think, very smart on the city's side, so.
Mark, are you leaning towards just taking this swamp all the way to Arthur D?
Yeah, I think just as,
Good.
I think that would be the smart move and let them farm whatever.
We'd take whatever they'd let it, they'd be willing to probably.
Yeah, I think that'd be the smart way
Yeah.
to go.
Who
And
farms on
then
the
the
city?
stuff of those things, so it's been
Wrong. Scots are on the south. Yeah. But I think just the way our cemetery is laid out,
Oh,
I think,
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying
The
if
north
if
side.
one side's not as amenable as the other side and you go
Yeah.
right along to that creek buffer,
yeah,
that would,
I think with our cemetery board, we have some people on there. There's specifically one person I can think of that she might be the really good person or conduit to head that up for us. So it's just an ask. I just need to ask her to make a call and see if she can get a conversation going.
so, yeah, it's been talked about.
I think that none of that farm ground is in the city of Slater today either.
It's not.
So there's kind of like it's almost like there's a couple conversations probably that we should be having about land, annexation.
Yeah.
So what's the best way to approach that and do that? And maybe once you're done in December, January 1st, you'd like to be a community relations liaison and help make those calls for us.
he's looking this way. He's looking this way. I must be talking to you.
My area's in the vault.
Yeah.
As soon as you're gone, you.
It's on the capital improvement plan, though, for sure, land is. Yeah. So road use. Moving some health insurance around there, obviously. What's that? Is interesting. Any questions for Mark on that? Professional services is down quite a bit, 30 to 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what we had there versus no.
We had that in the budget, we haven't actually used it.
Nothing recorded.
Okay. Budget difference is this decent portion made up in the health insurance difference and the. What else you got?
And Mark, you probably don't know, but Jerry, do you know why the health insurance, why Lindsay changed that?
I think we're looking at like a 24% increase.
Yeah, but this is dramatically more than that, it's like 400%. I'm just guessing maybe some was.
It's gotta be an account shifting of some sort. And the employee benefits, I'm just wondering, why is it there? All the other employee benefits are down there. Start looking at health insurance and you got,
After about 3 or 4 years of this, then we'll have a good trend.
Exactly. So Jerry, that might be worth asking.
I've got it written down.
Okay.
66 plus that. Get 80,000-90,000 in health insurance between those few line. Okay. Lindsay will give us an answer on Monday. Yeah. Street rock supplies. Project.
Sure.
Yeah, just like the 600 block of fourth. It's probably about the worst as far as. Blocking, that'd be some curb and gutter work. Also.
Oh, so it's resurfacing, but also curbs gutters.
Correct.
Snow. Please, just jump in if you guys have more.
Nothing major there. I mean, we budget. If you look previously, which I had some older records. I mean, we've been up to that 18,000 in salaries and snow the last couple of years. We've been really fortunate. So Lindsay was really wanting to take that $20,000 down. I'm like, I just don't want to get caught. You know, it's been working. So let's not.
Yeah.
Screw up a good thing. It's not starting off so great.
Yeah, say, you guys were.
Yeah.
Saturday, full force.
Yeah, so. That's a tough one I'd rather be high than low and
Okay. Well, we can settle it out midway through the year when we know
Well, yeah.
or whatever. We can do like I talked about with the other stuff.
Right.
It's not like
Yeah, you'll be
it's not like we
done
lose it if we don't spend it. We
In
can
March, you'll pretty well
reallocate
be
it.
out.
The list has got plenty of needs, so
Yep.
we can reallocate it when it makes sense.
Yep.
So I had one last question on road use, sorry.
Yep,
Taylor jumped on that one.
go ahead.
With Main Street trying to get that refurbed a little bit, our stubs going north on, was it Marshall?
Yeah,
Those are kind of rough.
yeah, those would be, they're in the plan, but not,
They are, okay.
yeah, well,
And
yeah.
I don't know how they stand versus fourth, but
North is bad. The story's bad, North Story's worse than probably North Marshall, but
Okay,
Is that fourth down by the baseball field?
yes.
That corner there where the curb's kind of starting to
From-
cave in or
No,
the,
that's on Third.
that's on
From
third.
Boone to Green, as you're like going into the parking lot, it'd be.
Got it.
that-
Okay, yeah. And then the block north of that corner's pretty bad. one.
That's all in
Yeah.
the storm. So that could get, that road, that intersection could get repaved with stormwater,
Got it.
so.
Okay, so it's
You gotta
moving.
use the system. Yep. A little bit there.
so I guess I'd be interested to see what you can get a kind of volume discount, is there more
Right.
I can do while they're here?
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of having the equipment.
No, and that, I would say North Story would be as far as a good patch, not a full reconstruction like Lynn would be. I would say that would be the.
It'd be good at least.
Yeah.
Consider how much more.
Yep.
I don't
No, right, exactly.
We could consider that.
It's the next one on the list.
Okay,
The other thing I think that's not in there is obviously, anything R38 related.
Correct.
North Story, tell me where you're talking about,
From right here.
from this corner.
Between public house and the
Yeah,
station.
it's really that half a block is probably the worst.
somehow those blocks, I don't know what happened, but all three of those blocks.
Well, you have. Companies that you had equipment,
Heavy equipment.
you had
running.
equipment on both of those
Alright.
roads for many years.
Okay.
And it's,
I thought you
They
were
told-
talking about all north at first.
Nope, just stubs from Main to First.
Yeah.
I don't know why they fell apart, but
Got it as a placeholder.
Yeah, it's on the capital list. It looks like there. Yep.
all right, that was it.
For a study.
nothing
Or
for
38,
still,
yeah.
nothing major, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna go back to parks.
Was there any, do you want to do, where was sewer?
Road use have FICA and IFRS and stuff in it
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
when all the other departments don't.
Didn't Lindsay say we can pull it out for something?
Yeah,
not for
but
others?
it's enterprise funds, which is, and she called them proprietary, but,
Probably
no,
because
road use, well, they're not,
But-
they're not enterprise funds.
They're enough.
they really only added, unless
Water,
they,
sewer, garbage, if you had a garbage utility, gas, electric.
But road use if.
snow might be.
That's because that's coming from the state.
Right.
And snow.
She had a heading on the top of that.
Because it's roads, because snow's.
They went from general fund to. She does have that all under special revenue, so it must be. Snow use must be a legal. Chart of accounts underneath the special revenues.
Right.
So that's why, and then I'm assuming the 112 employee benefits, those are all the ones that aren't. Considered special revenue, so you pull them out of the general fund budget, put them into this one under special revenue, so you can levy for those. So that would make sense why it would be in
110.
all of those under special revenue that's where all your health insurance and FICA would live. Cause then you can levy for all those independently in
I
theory.
just thought it was all go, lump it all under employee benefits regardless of.
Yeah, I agree. Sewer was the only other, did we wanna go there?
Sewer, garbage.
Well, it's water, they were stormwater.
Do you wanna just run through those quick, Mark?
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah, let's do those.
That's fine.
Then we can circle back to. We can circle back to parks then.
Water's the dark one.
Water?
Water.
Okay.
assuming Jerry Health is just another reallocation.
Health insurance.
It's 30 grand that's been, that's a tenfold increase.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I'll ask her.
Yeah.
Unless Mark, you recall.
I do not.
Yeah, it wasn't dissing you, Mark. but-
No, cause she's, when we met, it's don't mind anything above this line. And that's okay.
Water building maintenance went down quite a bit. We were 31.2 this year, we're only at 1,700.
Yeah,
We only
just,
budgeted 10.
yeah, we have some doors to redo. And then if you look on the bottom, I put in for
Capital project.
capital, which electric panel update. That's that plant's a 1991 and,
That's why I was just surprised the building maintenance was low.
Yeah.
but See,
and a lot of that is in-house. We've done a lot of that ourselves, so. Knock on wood there again.
Planning on a big water main repair?
So. Well, so this is new to me. This is what, talking to Lindsay and them, this is what they were doing in their past was they would devote X amount to updating water mains.
When you have hydrant replacement.
And we have
which is a good
hydrant
thing to do.
replacements, 5 a year.
Replacing 4-inch with 6-inch main. You've got-
So it's just kind of it's one of them that I don't know if there's money for, but okay, we'll
Okay,
do that. Yeah. And so there again, that's where the confusion.
That's more water main replacement.
Essentially just comes down to
Replacing
way of
old
having a
with-
rollover.
So to me,
Not wanting to call them rollover.
right,
Sometimes-
it's
Well,
one
no.
thing that
Cause you're either gonna use it and fund it in that year or you're not.
I don't.
So that could be
think
cut from the
It's talking
budget.
about- Talking about building up a fund to repair, to do,
No, he's not talking
Water
about building
mains.
fund, he's talking about doing a block.
doing a block.
Or a block or two, whatever, I mean, that's just, I don't know.
It's just putting it
I
in the
haven't-
budget
I
year you're
haven't
doing
gotten
it.
a price on this, what you can do for 150,000.
Right, you can't fix the street that you just.
No, exactly.
Good.
And you would
Fix the water
follow
main
like
for that.
studies, trends, like where your water main breaks have been for the
Right.
last 5 years.
Yeah,
And tackle those first.
yeah.
Right, I'm just saying 150,000 doesn't replace the street you tore out to fix the water main, let alone fixing the water main, so.
Is there options to abandon water lines in the road and move them?
That's short talk, yeah, I
So
think
then
there
we'll-
is
yeah.
opportunity. Yeah. I mean, then you're
still-
you're just running new water line tapping,
Yeah.
splicing in somewhere.
I think the other thing,
Boring, doing whatever.
I think by putting this in there, you're reserving those funds to execute that type of work before you address your capital stuff. And so you set it aside for that, knowing that you could. If you know that you're not gonna do that work, you take it out of the budget and you put it into actual capital projects, but I think it's to try to
And back
increase.
to where, what you said at the beginning, is the confusion in whether it's a capital project or what consists of this or whatever. Okay, so that's 150,000 in sewer or in water main repairs,
Yeah, 200.
but yet. Then on an electrical panel could be building maintenance. For updating electric panel, but we have it in capital, so it's just very confusing to me.
It's just
What is what?
a matter of
What is-
identifying projects
Mhm.
and potential costs.
Yeah, right. No,
But we need
it's a
definitions.
learning curve and I'm here
Well, and
for it,
particularly
but
when it,
it's very,
particularly when you're talking about water, because it's an enterprise fund, so how you can
Right.
use that totally different than how you might have to.
yeah,
do
you
a
only have
capital
X amount of
improvement
money,
Or something that doesn't have.
Yeah.
info.
so. I mean, if it's to, yeah, there's just
It's.
there's only X amount of
Planning.
funds and what are you gonna spend with that funds, so. We threw whirled at it and we'll see what happens.
It's kind of like the professional services in a sense, the way I view it is like, you're in a contract, you have a partner, you know, you do X amount of maintenance every single year. I think we know as a city, we've got to get to a point where like every year we need to do this much water main replacement or repair over
That would be
time.
great.
We just need to start getting that, we got to get it started somewhere.
Yeah, we need to know.
It's a proactive approach and we need to do it.
And then I think it's the same thing on the hydrant, like it's more like we're just agreeing to a service contract to replace 3 every single year. That's an operational requirement in order to keep infrastructure functional.
So. That's what I.
Yeah, it's just, we've been forced to do that for painting the water tower, where, you know, it's in a cycle.
Yeah, and that's in here.
Right.
So,
Right, but I'm just saying, we had to start that years ago.
Right.
We've done the
Yep.
same thing with the sirens and
Yeah,
certain
Yep.
things.
Get it on a schedule.
yep, exactly.
it's just adding some more of that to
Yeah,
that.
I think that's what it is, and
Yep.
it's just a bigger ticket item, I mean,
Right.
for sure.
In some years you'd use double, in some years you'd use
Yeah.
none, or.
Yeah.
But it's reserving it for you to use.
Yep.
So that you could. Before we say, oh, guess what? We have another 150,000 for a new shelter at the Southside Park or something.
What's that?
The electrical panel.
It's
Yeah.
all all your main breakers, all lugs and all that in the water plant itself. It,
Yeah, the water plant.
yeah, the water plant,
Okay.
and it's, when I came back, in 07, I think in 08, we did one. Where all the handoff autos are, not all the breakers and stuff,
Okay.
just to update that PLC and that stuff, and, you know, that's what it was 08. I don't remember what that cost then, but it wasn't, that was just a small,
So this isn't the simple stuff.
Section.
This is the controller.
this is, yeah. And right now, they're basically scratching to find parts when I call them too.
And there's
Fix
no plan
something.
redundancy when they go down, you're.
Not on this one, not on this old stuff.
I think it folds into just the greater question of what are we gonna do about water in general and
Yeah, and that
Well,
goes to,
general.
you know, is this plant gonna still be there? I would say probably, you're probably gonna add.
always either way,
You
yeah.
know, I don't know, that's just.
Yeah, osmosis, reverse
But
osmosis.
I think that's a
yeah.
big, I think that's something that needs done no matter what happens
Right.
on that side of the house.
Okay,
But to do this, then you're pulling in a whole, like a trailer with a whole electrical service to run everything while they're replacing.
Not necessarily, depends, I mean, we have Xenia, so
Generator.
that's a plus.
Right.
Maybe they could, I mean, that, it's just, that number is just thrown out there.
Yes, yeah.
That's not a,
okay,
but that's something that maybe they could face, it, you know.
Right,
do
but I think
section.
that has to be part of the planning is how you
For sure.
run everything while you're replacing electric.
Yep.
Current, so you don't.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, we have a generator, so is it something that's gonna run? Not that you, I mean, our plant's running only about 3 or 4 hour thing a day, so.
Yeah.
Winter time is a good time to do stuff like that, so.
anything else on water anybody has?
Next year.
Sewer, Mark?
There's a lot of. Yes, we still do not have a. Well, to back up, we did get the roof panel replaced last week, so that's a plus, finally,
Wow.
Perfect,
yeah.
but that's not the permanent fix, so really, we're still in the back and
That is
forth.
to get it back to normal.
We can heat it without losing heat.
Yep,
Good
so,
timing for this week.
That was a $4,000
Yeah.
expense.
Other than that, all the grubbing of the trees, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it looks totally different and looks great down there.
They made light work of it.
Now we're looking at getting a fence put in, so that project will be done. Whether that happens yet, this one or not, whether we'll decide. Moving forward. The big ticket item that we don't have yet is from Grosswind to see if they would do a maintenance plan or something with us. And I don't even know what to throw on that as far as money wise. So that's the big item that I see that we don't have yet.
Yeah, I think that's just the big question mark about the whole facility is from your vantage point,
Yeah.
is like, what does it actually cost to repair the items and
Yeah, I
maintain them
mean,
since they've been
we are
footing the
under
bill on it?
contract yet, so we've been, I mean, really fortunate as a city that we haven't had to do anything. That's gonna stop, but if we can get some sort of monthly maintenance cost or yearly contract with them, that would be, to me, huge, so.
And then these, as we look at these are all expenses. We don't have anything for income on
I
it.
think that's what made this the hardest for me, and I think when we get through them all, I think I wanna go through and just get some quick recommendations on how it can be better as we go around the next time, but.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah, it's hard
It's
to,
like Jen did that on hers, where she included her own, when she included her own, just because she had the income amounts in there.
Yeah.
It's nice on the few accounts that we have that have income to have at least that offset, so we know what they're.
to know whether you're overspending or underspending is
Well,
also
so you know,
helpful.
Right, to know what you,
Yeah,
approximate what you're gonna bring in.
yep.
Yep.
What do we know about the last three columns, sewer bonds, sewer bond interest, sewer bond fees? Do those fluctuate with the markets, or why are those numbers changing?
And going up. And it should be like that.
Not to be indelicate, but there was problems in getting them put in correctly
Okay,
previously.
Hmm.
Those numbers are correct.
These, oh, here's 0.7, correct?
Yeah, because I was offended by the bond fees and found out that that's just a profit center for them.
And they are. Remind me on the rates on those, there's a couple different, but one of them's, and this is what we talked about, part of these were talked about in terms of payoff.
Right.
In the solution as well, to not have to raise rates. And there's a couple that are sub 4% or maybe even
All of
Who's
them.
recommended that it pay off?
Up to
2, yeah,
0.8 to 1.75.
and they're fixed rate. Is that right?
I can't get a straight answer there. I was told that they were fixed. And I was told they were very one. So
I remember that, yeah, okay.
Variable but fixed.
yeah.
The financial advisor. supposed
You're
to
saying the
provide a
bond-
recommendation.
bond,
Yeah.
The bond fees aren't
bonds.
just a fee in the year that the bonds are written.
I was offended by that. I'm pretty sure if you ever took a loan out, you didn't pay another fee every year. It's a duration of the bond.
Yeah,
No, but apparently that's the way bonds work versus loans. I had no idea. If it was $50, it wouldn't bother me. You can tell it's not $50.
mhm.
have you, like, I'm asking this because I know you, have you like looked into the contractual agreements and seen how that works?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I don't think we've ever seen what those documents were. There may be a public document somewhere, probably.
I'm sure that in changing the ones in the past would be difficult, but I'm hoping that going forward, maybe, we can do more due diligence about looking into the
Preparing
bond.
bond.
I'm getting ready to do a deep dive into what bond historical documents we need to keep, so I'll keep my eyes open.
Awesome.
There's stuff, so there's bond stuff next.
So if you find a big reprobate tub in front of your front door, that's what that
Light,
means.
it says light reading.
Yeah. That's how she got rid of, that's how that.
We'll be there December 25th.
It left the safe and went to your front doorstep
Santa will bring it to you.
without gift wrap.
Capital project, we know what that is, fixing the effluent, concrete around that, redoing that.
Yeah.
The new equipment sampler and flow meter, that's the inflow meter, so instead of the temporary one they're using, we get a
That would be-
permanent.
Do something different, well, who knows
Okay.
what that looks like.
And then we know we have the odor capital project,
Yep.
obviously, something related to that in the spring that we've kind of already greenlit.
For 28,000.
That's the 14,000.
The orders like.
The effluent is where the water lets into the creek, cause that,
That's
That-
20 grand.
Yeah,
no,
that's the
14,
structure.
that is 14. is what's budgeted for that.
The capital project was 14 grand.
Yep, for the effluent building to replace the concrete around that, basically re-bolt the
Yeah.
valve or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah,
The new sampler flow meter is 20,000. We have already approved, I think, which we're gonna revisit maybe on Monday, what the solution is to replace odor. So stay tuned. No, because
It's not.
we're gonna complete it between now and June
yeah. it's
thirtieth,
not up to
hopefully.
new budget.
Or fund it in the current budget year versus next budget year.
All right, I was confused, sorry.
Should make a note
But
of.
those are kind of the main big capital projects that we know of right now.
Sewer testing, Mark, is what happened at the page. You haven't had it before, I'm assuming.
Sorry, what?
Sewer testing,
I assume that's,
a reallocation of.
yeah, I think that was under, I don't know if that was under technology, I don't know
Okay,
where it was before, but that would be. We have to send samples to a testing company
Okay.
every week.
that's what I was guessing, just a
Yeah.
different bucket now instead of.
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
And your professional services, the 200 grand is. An estimate to start doing regular servicing instead of waiting till.
So we've done a jetting program.
Yep.
This would be more of a lining of program.
You got 50 grand for jetting now and 50 for lining.
Yes, we've never done lining.
Okay.
That's something that we need to start.
Okay,
Kind of
they should
part of
start
the
with this
line.
section now. Way through.
It's, yeah, you kind of pick your worst, what you think is your worst spot.
Right,
Yeah.
but it turns into a annual thing, you never stop. You just do.
Yes, and,
There's a lot to
maybe you'd get through the town and you'd be done.
No, by the time you get through the town, then you start over again.
I think their longevity is,
Once it's lined, yeah, that's.
you would hope you'd be good for a while. I would hope.
I got a warranty on that for like
Yeah.
20 years.
I would think
is-
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least on the residential side, I don't know about commercial.
Right.
Springs.
Who did yours?
Check
Huh?
those.
Who
We
did
haven't
yours?
had it done, but I. had
Still
a
waiting
couple
for
of
Joel to get me who
contractors.
did his.
Yeah.
I gotta do
that work
mine.
with
I
that
talked
did
to my
it.
accountant about it.
My
Sorry, I keep
personal.
forgetting.
Wouldn't be because of good night to ask, please.
It's not the right time.
Yeah,
By the way, too,
they,
it's-
what they basically told, just talking to them, don't come, or don't get us here until you're ready to spend, do like 800 feet or something like that, which is like, say, 7 days out. So, make it worth their while.
Right, agreed.
Yeah.
I just was guessing that
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna.
it's gonna be 1.5 million or.
I think some of this number admittedly came from Jared, some of this number
That's what
came
they
from you
want,
based on
yeah.
past experience.
yeah.
Yeah, Prairie City, we had a company.
City of
CIT,
Kelly just lined some last
Do
year.
televising and
Some
Line
bad
replacements.
areas that they have. And that's just, you don't need to line everything. If you televise it and it looks good, then
Okay.
why spend the money?
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
It's just starting to fix some of it.
yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously your north side is
Yeah.
your oldest,
Where you've got all
it's
the
gonna be the
inflow.
worst.
Where you've got a lot of inflow. coming
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Hopefully stop some of the inflow.
Right.
consistent maintenance for you. Okay,
is that addressing both, right?
yeah.
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 Yeah, well, yeah, you're gonna stop your inflow, you're still not gonna cure your sumps that are connected, if
Yeah,
there is.
so you get the infiltration, just nothing in flow.
Yeah.
Well, you'll find out if you line it.
Well,
Somebody's gonna call.
well, yeah, they'll come.
I
over,
guess,
yeah.
unless they're going. through
Yes, it'll
right?
tap.
They'll come through that
Yeah,
other
yeah,
path.
yeah.
Okay. Garbage obviously is kind of a big TBD. We'll, I'm sure hear more about that on Monday. Stormwater. Intakes is really a big part of the difference.
Just,
Your
yeah,
view.
just rebuilding some intakes, that's an ongoing project.
Okay,
That'd be like something on Third. We'll keep
Correct.
Talking from that,
Yeah.
Third and Green.
some more projects in front of my relatives
Some dates.
for me to get a hard time about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, maybe taking that frame out and re-bricking or whatever it is, and paving back the street. So,
Anybody questions for those departments from Mark?
The stormwater, none of the individuals in the three looked that much higher, but at the end of the day, it went from. We budgeted 22 grand for this year and we're at 48 grand for next year.
You got a 15,000.
The 15,000 capital intakes would be the big one.
Okay.
Well, and there's a bunch of items that are not considered until this.
Mm.
this-
Right, that's
Yeah,
what
Yeah.
Getting a great.
Yeah, maintenance and repair,
Professional services.
So next
Professional
25, pretty
jetting,
much-
storm, you typically don't have to do. It's one of them that it's nice just to have, so if we need to, we can, and we are jetting. One small section of tile right now, probably quarterly is what it seems like we're doing. We were talking with the homeowner about getting rid of a couple willow trees.
Those are all.
So, yeah. So that might come to light here in the next month or two.
yeah, you know, you have 200 grand or something
To get the willow.
be added into the budget, split
Which
multiple
will
places
essentially help us not, it's every quarter either, so.
from your final number. Okay, let's circle back to parks then. That's our last item in City Hall then.
I think so.
Let's get back to parks then and go through it quickly. Building repair, maintenance, mulch, yeah. Playground and benches up significantly. Is there some thoughts on a rotation or anything there specific that makes up that, it's a $16,000 difference from a budget perspective, Jonathan or Mark?
Yeah,
Hopefully you're replacing the horses that you guys took away.
Yes, son.
yeah.
One down.
Oh, yeah. So equipment maintenance and repair, we've got some, that we've put in there with the thought process, so it's, we've got, we wanna start to kind of, you know, thinking proactively, start to tackle a few things, so benches and, you know, park, our actual, wood, picnic tables. Perhaps start to kind of get some of those swapped over to like plastic wood, whatnot, you know. So from a maintenance perspective, we've got some money put in there for, you know, rehab. And then we're also kind of putting together a bit of a Bible for the parks themselves and the equipment. With the goal that we are trying to be a little more proactive on maintenance of the equipment. So we've got a little bit in there for swings, you know, just general replacement, recoding, you know, these kinds of things. But, you know, thinking if we're gonna be doing annual inspections, we wanted to have a little bit of cash in there for us to be able to, you know, replace a little chunk of concrete here or there, or do whatever we need to do, you know.
Whatever should arise. Okay.
Yeah, and so you
Good
put
enough for me.
benches in there, and that's really what it is. It's playground and benches, maintenance and repair.
Okay.
Most of the benches that are in the parks that are the newer expanded metal fitted have all been donated. That we order and they pay.
Mhm.
So I would hope we could keep with that, you know, for the most part.
They just kind of come in randomly.
Yeah,
And,
they do.
um,
It's an in and an out thing. though. I mean, you have to pay for it, but you'll get reimbursed.
and I think the thought being, we've caught some complaints about, the picnic tables in particular, but just
Yeah.
in general, just, you
I
know,
would go to the expanded metal there and
yeah, well, we could,
that's a
yeah.
tough one. They're not cheap.
Right.
They'll last a long
The
time.
thing of it is, the frames are good, but you know, those are discussions to have. I think we just wanna be a little more on top of it.
Oh, we change out probably 20 boards a year
Yeah,
and,
To try to keep them going. Yeah.
yeah,
right.
well,
Yeah, it
we
makes-
should get rid of them if they get a sliver, cause we had to get rid of
It
them.
makes sense to me. we've spent 14 grand this year. You're asking for 20. It's a big difference year over year in the budget, but I just wanted to ask the question. So I think, obviously these are in the budget, but when I think about the trailside conversation, the Nighthawk dugouts, I think about those being kind of the broader capital plan discussions. You know, so you take those out, you're 585 out of that.
Making any progress on
The-
Ballard, on Nighthawk?
80, Jerry, that's something
I've
that's
not
been on my list. Have you heard back
heard.
since their school board meeting
They
about our
had some
contract?
questions about the increase and we provided that information, but she was gonna take that to the school board and I have not heard back yet.
Cause we talked about.
Was that-
Before your time, Jared, we talked about meeting this winter and.
Was that-
Some kind of plan.
Was that well, he was here when when we did that. Was that pre their last meeting? They had a meeting the same night our last meeting was. When you say they wanted more information,
She had
was that
questions
before the
a
10?
couple of different times, couple of different days. She was prepping for a future meeting. I don't know exactly what.
After the November 10th, you think, or? Cause they were supposed to determine the contract, respond on the contract November 10th, so. We're kind of due that answer, in my opinion, but
I can follow up with her, cause I have not heard back.
Because I would like to have some kind of plan with them before we invest money that they don't wanna pay for.
I mean, here's what I would, on the dugouts, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
mainly.
yep, I know.
I would say, I mean, that's to, yeah. To make them look better, I think, especially the visitors dugout, the first base dugout. Should be at least the roof ripped off and redone
Okay.
to make it look. Like
Yeah,
we,
it's-
like we care.
Yes, and I'm not gonna argue actually update at all, I just would like,
Right.
I would like Ballard to commit before we spend.
well, I
No,
don't wanna put
I would say
new
whether they
dugout in.
commit or not, I think that is something that has been on our list from Duratio and it,
Park's there and
yeah,
it's
but is it gonna hurt anybody? No, it's strictly a cosmetic thing, but it does look bad.
I
Yeah.
assume that's less than the 20,000.
No, for sure, yeah, if you were just to do that,
Yeah.
just to get, you know. And I know their other thing was,
The benches
their
are a little rough.
benches
Yeah.
inside the dugouts, which I'd rip them out and go buy aluminum.
right.
Yeah, I think the broader question is,
Yeah. But you're gonna-
our improvement of a dugout versus their expectations of an improvement of a dugout,
Right.
and if you want longer term partnership.
Yeah.
They'll have to meet on that somewhere in the middle to make them happy versus what we would just replace it as.
Yeah.
So but I guess I'm just trying to separate out, if you look at it from a year over year budget perspective, obviously there's some big items in there. Throwing in for 27 that will be a part of, like, hey, are these the capital projects we are green lighting in 27 or not? You take those out, you're really not that different year over year, right?
Right.
No,
There's a new equipment section,
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
park and rec recommendations and garden club, that's your difference after you net out, if you net out capital project, the big capital projects. Which obviously we'll be getting to with capital planning.
Well, what is the new equipment? That's just,
Yep,
the one up above is repair and replace, and this one is new.
we have 39,500 in there as a budget item. It says garden club's 1,500 of that.
Yeah, so as far as the new equipment, I'm not sure what all they dumped in here because my categories are named a little bit differently, but so we've got a few items. Bear with me here. So we've got a park, kind of a. Last year, when we were trying to develop a budget, we basically kind of kept last year's budget and married it all over to here. We had a goal last year to do some electrical upgrades at Nelson Park, and that didn't happen. And partially because we talked to Mark and he felt like we were all good. And so we still have a category there with some cash in it. You know, with our plan to use for the safety upgrades. So the horses and the spring riders down at Grim Park, getting at least a safety surface underneath those to get them up to code, I guess. So that's largely where that's coming from. We had a second category last year that we put in to start purchasing soccer goals with the anticipation we thought we were going to be playing on them this spring. obviously we didn't purchase those, but that has also been pushed off into this next year, so.
So we'll want them in
We'll look at
27 for
starting
the
to
fall.
Purchase goals.
Yep.
And we've kind of put a number together for what that looks like. And we budgeted basically 15,000, which would get us one large set of goals. And then one small set of goals plus the wheel kits. And then a little bit thrown in there for shipping, not really knowing what that shipping would be. So those are
Okay.
kind of the two big equipment items. There's 10,000 that we're looking at for park upgrades. Which won't be enough, but we'll make that work, and then the 15,000 for the goals. I think that's pretty much it as far as actual equipment goes. The three big things we got on our plate are the horses. We've got the spring riders down at Southside Park. And then the signage project, which is kind of separate,
Wayfinding.
right?
Yep.
That was essentially approved
Okay.
for this budget.
Right. So
And that-
those are kind of the three big things that we see. You got about the two 15,000. things. What are the other two? You have a ballpark of what those other two items are? The 15,000 for goals, then we got 10,000 in there for, that we're gonna be throwing towards, safety improvements. It's probably gonna be the spring riders. Cause they'll need to handle the horse swings likely this year. And we've still got money in there since we didn't spend. And so that's roughly 14 grand for the swings. Then you got the garden club in there at 1,500. And signage. And the signage project, but we don't have a number on that yet.
It's looking like it's gonna be around 5,000.
Yeah,
So if you take out Trailside,
we've got, I mean, I don't know, did she throw most everything into that?
well, if you take out
I've
Trailside,
got two.
Nighthawk
estimates.
Field.
That'll be on the agenda for next Monday.
you end up with a total. And you also take out capital projects, trailside mower, lighting on trails. If you take those out, the annual budget is 165.5. And that includes the 40,000 for improvements, so. To me, I look at it and say, hey, the actual operating has actually gone down, you're throwing in money to do new things.
We're trying to do more things. Our expense categories have actually basically stayed the same that they've always been. Set aside the fact that last year was our first year actually doing a budget. And so we had created some categories last year. Some of that stuff got spent, some of it I'm not sure, to be frank, but we have, a few new categories in there. The equipment, which is what we talked about, which is kind of a maintenance item. We put 5,000 in towards playground surface maintenance. That is more than enough, really. That will get us a lot initially, and then the thought being we would reduce that going forward by quite a bit. Because if we're gonna be doing safe inspections of the parks, we just wanna make sure that there's a little money in there for Mark to be able to get mulch. And then general maintenance, like I said, there's some rec program expenses that we threw together. We've got some programming that we wanna do. We're thinking about doing some stuff at the dog park to try and get some people there, and some other programming. And then we did set aside $1,000 towards landscape, basically Parks and Rec targeted landscaping. Little areas, little sore areas that we need to improve on. And it would be something that I think we would just do as a group. We just to get, this area kind of fixed, that kind of a thing here and there. The pool being one of them, and some other areas that have been targeted that we need to deal with. So
Okay,
outside of that, there's a little bit of recreation equipment, $500. And merchandise purchase at $500, just in case we wind up doing merch. the recreation equipment is largely gonna be gaga ball pit balls and other miscellaneous items that we might need through the year. So that was kind of it. And then our revenues were projected to basically be flat. But there was a little bit of merch sales. Can Corral, we're figuring at $4,000, and rec program income, we put at $500. Right now, that's the tennis camp, and so it's just a matter of whether we keep the tennis camp, if we can keep it going.
Well, MSNBC says that this is the soberest US population there ever was, so that's not a good sign for the park budget. For the revenues, for the park revenues.
Yeah.
They say it's the soberest America there's been.
Yeah, there was a time a few years ago, we were really making a lot of money out of the cans, but yeah, it's right.
Okay, I feel like there's good clarity there. I think there's some of the projects, obviously we know, but. Anything else for Jonathan on any base? I mean, some of this will shape up a little bit more as we get some revenue projections with it, and we'll have more, maybe more technical, like, hey, we're gonna need to cut this or move this, but.
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, hopefully everything was clear. If he was talking about confusion, it's gonna be a little bit for me too, because a lot of this just falls into parks. And so what we used to do with Jennifer looks different now, and it will, but what our little individual areas eventually all just fall into these categories, and so it's kind of just probably easier for me to just list off what I've got here, so.
I think it provides, I mean, I just say we need to go through City Hall, but just there is a little bit more clarity here in terms of, for me, like the level of detail, talking about some of the regular maintenance on some things. And then looking at your grand total in the end, looking at a total that says your total expenses are, 5.28 if you net out some of those larger park capital projects. I had 685 in that group. If you take those out, you're 4.6 million. And you start thinking about what our revenues are and that you're like, okay, is there money left over for any capital in an annual budget? Or do you have to use reserve and outside sources to fund those? And that is still keeping in that regular maintenance for sewer, streets, stormwater. It gives me a little more clarity in terms of like, hey, there isn't a lot of capital funds. So how are you going to execute these? Are you going to go for bonds on these? Are you going to spend reserves on these? What are you going to do? That's clarity I didn't feel like I fully had before it versus now.
It
And-
looks different to us, but it's delightful to feel like we have a more professional, knowledgeable approach to our budgeting process. So thank you, Jerry and company.
I'm all for it. I've told them repeatedly in our meetings, I feel like we're maybe not chasing, and we're trying to be a little more proactive in my little piece, which is a very small piece of all of this, but we have nice parks, and I think we are positioned for us to be a little more professional about how we manage them, and we'll hopefully keep them nice. So.
Appreciate that mentality.
Small the 5.3. That is that normal city master thing that I do that I don't think anybody else
Yep.
can tolerate. But you take out the capital and equipment, which is about 1.6, and we're about 3.65, which we don't have the income yet, but historically.
That's been enough.
About breaking non-income versus rent. So, as you said, let's discuss capital, and it's under equipment, but like this is a large volume of kind of capital, so that's why I've done those two together.
Yeah.
Major equipment, minor other, and it's major, I call them capital.
But those were still left in when.
They're all in budget.
Right, but I'm saying they were still in when you look at fiscal year 25 at 3.9. And that's a finished number.
There was 3 of them in 25, sorry, 26, I don't remember. There was 3 that stayed in.
Right, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to, when you're trying to compare apples to apples, but there's some capital or major equipment still in 25 and 26, so you're still not Still not comparing apples to apples.
It's not quite the numbers.
No,
I think there's up 230,000 in capital last year. I think most people dropped out, but there were a few places where left.
75 in fire, which we're gonna utilize, so. It just gives me the clarity of how much does our actual operations cost in comparison to our revenues, and then how do you execute any capital project above that? I think, Mark, Jonathan, I mean, I think Chad, if you guys obviously are welcome to hang around, but you don't have to at this point in my mind unless council has questions for you specifically.
Nope.
Okay, let's jump into the city hall portion. Jerry,
Okay. Salaries, got 3 staff, or we had 1, so we're gonna have an increase there. And again, of the 3, Nash's salary is spread out amongst Public Works and City Hall. And Lindsay's and I's is paid out of totally out of the general fund. Dues and memberships, not a great increase there.
I'm gonna just cut you off.
Sure.
I should have said this.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't know, you saw in our messaging in the scoop. You probably saw social media. We did, and then Corey went around car to car before the snowstorm and left cars parked on the street, got a yellow note on them or something that said, we will be enforcing that. I called Mark yesterday and just said, hey, how many did you tow? And
I called on 2. And
Well worth sending Corey around, because there were a lot of cars.
even when I went in, I think I seen 2. And then I actually, when I got on the road to plow, there was 2, and I called them in. By the time they got here, I'd already texted them because I thought I seen one go down Main. And he's like, that's fine. And then they got here to tow the one, they backed up. They went, I don't know, one of the guys seen them, they went up, the tow truck driver went up to the house and apparently knocked. And
A courtesy call.
very much so. And they came out and moved
Moved
it,
it.
so we actually didn't. But talk about awesome. I mean, not going around a car was just
He
makes.
got the attention of quite a few
Yeah.
folks after.
It makes
they
things
placed
much
it.
You were
easier.
one of the most simple.
really,
Yeah.
Didn't have one, but they were, I saw them
Yep.
all down my block.
you had a lot of inquiries about
There was
it.
a few that came in,
Okay.
I'd say.
Yeah. But
Well, I think the
Mark's-
wording on it, the wording on it was confusing because it was raining that day and snow wasn't anticipated for like 4 days.
Yeah,
it was just a heads
So it's
up.
just
like,
a heads up,
prepare.
so, cause my son from college got one and they were like, what's the deal? And I'm like, well, I don't think it's actually supposed to be, but I asked Jerry, I don't think it's supposed to be for all winter. I think it was just letting us know. You know, so,
Yeah.
Oh, it's winter, I mean, we're
Yeah.
not, they will be towed.
yeah, I mean. if
it's
there-
for
if there's
snow events. If there's
there's
snow and they're plowing,
yeah,
it's.
if
You can park
it's
there
raining.
today.
You wanna park out there tonight?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
problem, but
Yeah.
if it snows,
Right.
Just,
So when you read it,
completely out of the
So
blue.
that the
when you
truck
read
can
it,
do its
it
job.
kind of alluded to, you need to
Well,
do
that's,
this
we
now.
made sure it was in the scoop, the ordinance was listed in there, I mean, we wanna do our due diligence, cause
Right.
this was gonna be something different, cause tickets don't work.
Yeah, Mark's direct quote to me was, it's the best
Oh,
I've ever seen.
by far. I mean,
So,
Yeah, well,
night and day,
You know,
I mean, yeah, it was awesome.
so I just wanted to share that. I
Yep.
think it's just something, a good, I think collaboratively staff executed a good strategy and it worked awesome.
See him putting one on a car that
Yeah.
had been not moved out in front of my house for weeks.
Yeah.
And it left in a matter of hours.
Right.
And had,
Good.
and then.
Yeah. So.
I had to laugh. I heard the gator and I was like, what are they doing out there?
Huh?
And that's what he was doing. He was putting something out.
Thank you, Mark.
Jerry, you said you got some calls. Was that
they came in actually,
meaning
once,
what?
after the notes were placed on the windshields, and Nastia like laminated all of them, so I don't know how many hundreds of those.
Yeah,
they
you wanted
did.
that.
But she spent a good part of the day doing that, and then it just got their attention, like, is this, like John that said, is this, like, we have to move it right now? No, we're just trying to let you know that. You know, when the snow ordinance goes into effect, you will be required to move.
Well, it had been in
Car.
effect. It's already been in effect for a month, so.
But it did get their attention.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of communities you see like on Facebook, there's snow ordinance in effect tonight, that are reminding them, it's like, get your vehicles off the street or you're gonna lose your vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that from Ames, you see it from Huxley, you see it from everywhere around here and saying, hey. This is a snow event, it's in effect, it's not just November to March or November to April.
Well, if you've seen some of the videos of some of those companies that do it, they're very swift in and out. And Mark said that this guy actually got out of the truck and went to the house and was gonna try to communicate. Give that.
And who
person a
who do we use, or who did we, you know?
Somebody from,
Yeah,
Huxley.
Central Iowa, isn't it?
I would think.
I think it's somebody.
I think that's
that
right,
lives in
that's not
Huxley.
Central Iowa.
Well, I would think, I mean, we want to support them, they're the ones that, you know, Peter putting up the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's just for the snow, but to me, it looked really nice, just not having the street full of cars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
okay.
I just wanted, Mark, when Mark says it's the best ever, I want to make sure we document that, because he said that's the best snow event he's ever had as far as not having to mess with cars. So good work out of staff, all the staff collaboratively to get that done, and we did a great job notifying people because it
Part of
worked.
the notices, now I think you just go around with a paintball gun,
Tag them with a,
just tag the windshield with a paintball gun.
yeah,
Be a lot quicker than.
Public Works would like that. Yeah, it was a great campaign.
When you get a
Okay.
green paintball gun, I think the tow truck's been called.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Training,
And volunteer
increase. I think that's attributable to more staff, plus we're gonna be, I think, pretty active in attending trainings. Let's see what else. Legal fees, I think some of that was due to the referendum that the city went through, some of the costs that was associated with prepping for that. Now we've got some additional with some of the code enforcement work that's going on. Publishing, a little bit of an increase. It is fairly costly to probably have that scoop published. It's like $2,500, $2,600. And I think there's a notation. Oh, that's down at the bottom here, the postage.
Has that changed a lot with the glossiness and it's got, I think it's had more pages than it had.
Possibly.
The color too. I mean, I remember when we were talking about this and the expense was $4,000 a year or something, or just under that, if I remember right, or four, yeah. Now it's all color and that, so I do think we need to analyze.
Like how many pages and.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd support local business. Online cheap places are a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that's a pretty expensive to continue the scoop at.
No, but we can actually do it. It's just, you gotta use Vista printer, one of those guys, and they're a lot cheaper than local, and I don't like that, but
Yeah, we
Let's
need
see,
to analyze that.
building maintenance repair, not a lot there, but there's an increase. I think for like fiscal year 27, we're just wanting to focus because these west windows are all wood exterior and they all need to be scraped and painted, so that's a priority. I think there were some things mentioned about the carpet in the back. I mean, it is in poor condition. But honestly, it's not really used much. Although we have the kitchenette back there, I think most of the staff eat at their desk.
I'd question how much of the kitchenette and the stove and all that stuff do you really need at the end of the day, but.
It's a great space for reconstruction, reconfiguring, if and when that happens, whether it's city hall staff or another department, it'd be a great opportunity and then to also add like another restroom. I don't know how many total square footage, but that's about a quarter of the square footage of this building. So it's got a great upside, but it's not really used that much. And then plus a good part of it's for storage. And a lot of that is for community club.
The outside stuff too, the only thing I just say is like, I know Mark and them or the staff mentioned to me at one point that, yeah, that's on our list to do. I don't know, my perspective is like, let's figure out what it costs to pay a painter, an actual painter and scraper versus our staff scraping windows and painting them, is my perspective.
They might
and Gauge
walk
that.
back there and check it first. I think they're gonna find a lot of dry rot that might necessitate.
Just replace
a lot more
windows.
coat paint.
It could
Yeah.
be,
On these windows.
when they're wood, it does not last.
It's, yeah, I think you're gonna find that could end up being a much more expensive project, because I wouldn't be surprised with what those.
To
other
replace
shops-
those windows,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Well, yeah,
We did these ones, right? Front, well, those are all vinyl. I think John
Yeah.
sold those.
Yeah, those are a lot nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's where we need to go.
Backside.
That's where these are probably headed, but that's just the first, I haven't been back there with a screwdriver.
Utilities, an increase there, around $7,100 has been the trend. And actually, we're showing like a 11-12% increase, so I think that potentially could be adjusted somewhat downward. Although these things, these wall mounted units, they do run a lot. And I think like where I'm at now, not to complain, I kind of like
Say,
it, kind of cool, but
He needs
that
an
thing-
electric
that thing
baseboard
runs.
in there.
all day long.
I tend to not worry about cold, but his office is freezing.
Yeah, there's no
Not
heat in
getting-
there, yeah.
That would be $500 to get some heat.
Accounting audit, I know Lindsay's got a rep that she used,
We already approved that, didn't we?
I think.
We
that would
approved
be-
the, for this past, or this,
but
past
this would be
fiscal
for
year.
27,
this would be for 27, so.
which
that's
is a
good.
reduction from what we paid in the past.
How's that hat?
I think the guy was 8,500, something like that. You're just watching.
This is I think it's a,
Remember, we never bid that. We hadn't bid that in 8 years. Right?
I don't remember how long it's
I
been.
remember the discussion came up.
Yeah.
And we were too late. We were advised we were too late to bid on it.
Right.
But yeah, I think we were just
It's an
never,
accounting
that was a lack of
someone that she is.
price checking, shopping.
She liked.
Yeah.
This technology.
It's what?
See how long it stays up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cleaned up so every year.
Yeah.
Well, that's the best part.
Well,
That's
and the
why you
big
gotta check
thing
it
for
on
like
their
capital
schedule.
equipment would be like a
On it.
PC for the deputy city clerk.
Comfort isn't
Cause
always a
Lindsay
great
got
thing.
one, I got a laptop. And we've got 2,000 for,
I was thinking G.
A PC.
It's for G works alone.
well, and a lot of that software we pushed to 28. Although we're doing demo, we're looking at
Right. I thought the
Demos
annual
for-
contract was more than that.
for Parks and Rec and for building permit applications and that kind of thing. And honestly, I'd love to get that in place, like if we could get it this budget or 27. And then phase in some of the other. But I think, and talking to Lindsay, she thinks that we can wait, cause G-Works has extended their contract for, I think, at least another year.
Right.
So we've got some time with that.
I thought G works by itself was 10 grand.
I thought it was somewhere.
So I was thinking. You might want to look into that. One. That one seems
Yeah.
too low. I know you guys did a bunch of updates already.
I think we were advised it was 10 grand. I don't know if I don't ever remember seeing an invoice
We
come
spent-
through like
12/7.
on our claims.
Seem low, but
Remember a
Put a
rough
question mark.
number thrown out on it.
12.7 is what you spent so far this year.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah. But remember, we found ourselves with an IT need quite quickly. We brought several new computers
I'm not surprised.
Chad's helping them.
I'm surprised that's.
there. Yeah.
Is that $6,000 count your 365 stuff? Your subscriptions?
Well,
I
we
think
got,
that'd be under dues and memberships. I don't know.
yes,
You should-
2,000 of that's the computer for the deputy city clerk. Printer.
I just wanna make sure they cover that.
Yeah,
I
we
got a
need to make
question
sure we
on
had
that.
that.
Professional services, is that what you're gonna ask?
Community club, we give 5,000. City hall, that's, what's that? For fireworks?
Gonna go right to the fireworks.
Yeah, and how sustainable is that? That $5,000?
Been the same for a long
Been
time.
the same for a long time.
You guys.
So I talked to the fireworks guy. I talked to Nate about this. And aren't we gonna get, we're one of the last towns doing the hand lit,
Yep.
and isn't who we're buying through coming down to the last couple of years where they're gonna let us do that, provide us that way?
Heard talks about it, but I haven't been involved, so.
They've been talking about
Okay.
that for a long time.
Okay.
So, and it's not that up to them. If it's up to them, it will continue. It's more about.
Their ability to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but I think that number difference that I was told was like,
Around it.
it'd go like 15 to 20,000 a year if you have to go to that different lighting.
We're spending about 20,000 a year on fireworks, aren't
Yeah, it's
we?
about,
19.
it's about 11 or 12 when we get $15,000 worth.
Yeah, but you
Something
get,
like that.
but then it depends,
Yeah,
you're talking about Fourth of July, you're talking about Fourth of July number versus.
Right.
And then including, then
Christmas
when
on
you
Main
add
and
in,
tailgate.
the tailgate
Divided.
thing and Christmas on Main,
Yeah,
then you still gotta, then you gotta add about another 10 onto that. So
but yeah, they were telling us, Taylor, it was be like a 12-hour setup if they have to come in and go electronic. Where we do it and with volunteers in 3 hours. They're gonna have a crew there for 12 hours just to set the show.
I knew the number was like, I guess I knew the total number was over double what we are today, so I just want to double, we've never been told that.
at least.
That could be a surprise to us
It'll
someday
easily be
when we go to
easily
order
get
them, I'm
half
sure.
the show or double the cost.
Yeah.
If it has to change from that.
Clubs. Okay.
Good, okay. City hall cleaning, building inspections,
Right, and they did a deep clean at the senior
Center.
building also, cause
Yep.
it hasn't been cleaned for a while.
sure that needed it. Building inspection, 60,000. We do anticipate, right, just to clarify, we do anticipate when we do see revenues on building inspections, that there should be more revenue than expenses in building
Based on the new
inspections
Contract.
based on the new contract.
Where it's
Okay.
been just a pass through.
Yep. Iowa codification, 750, is that website, the completion of it and then the website cost?
That's probably an annual, one time.
Okay,
Or wait a minute, with Iowa codification, actually, we just got an invoice for around 600, so that might be a little low.
okay,
I thought that was gonna be more of an annual amount for just them hosting the.
yeah,
Thing on the web.
our code.
I don't think that's,
I thought that was like
I don't think
two
that's.
fifty
I
though.
think
No,
that's
Siri and
codification
Corey.
Or one-time codification.
Yeah.
That's 750 plus 450 is an annual maintenance. I was thinking about
Wow, I thought
the
the,
codification of the code company.
I thought the
code enforcement.
codification they're going through now is way above that.
Yes.
Total, yes.
Oh, so, okay, so is there another, right, okay, so there's another line item.
Well,
Yeah,
somewhere.
actually, the 750 is a one time and then it's 450 annual.
For the
For main,
website.
once we get it posted, the entire
For the
code on the
website.
city's website.
Okay,
They're
but
going
then-
through our entire code book for $750?
No,
no,
No.
this is,
Okay,
that's, the
first time
450 is
setup.
like, once it's completely done and posted on the city's website, there's a third party that maintains that
right,
platform. And
But
that's
the-
what that cost us.
there is, I don't see that in here. I think what Ken's asking about is we do codification annually. We recodify every year in your anticipation.
Well, state
let's-
law says once every 5, and then usually
Okay.
what you can do is you can put all the ordinances that you pass in like a hopper on your website and make it clear that, okay, here's our code, but then here's additional ordinances that we've adopted
since,
as of whatever date it is.
Okay, so you're not anticipating in the next fiscal year that you'll go through full codification
No.
again, since we're completing it now? Okay, you'll add a line item and that you
I would
budget
do
here
it
when
at
you're gonna
least-
do it.
but the
every 4.
codification that we're going through now is,
Already paid for and everything.
Well, we had to add to it a little bit
Yeah,
because they weren't planning on looking at the zoning code, the design code, and there was something else.
what about, that gives clarity to me.
so where's codification costs that we've already paid for or that's included in this year's budget?
It wouldn't be
It's
on
not
this
in the
sheet,
same.
cause this is only for July 1,
Yeah, this would
26
be
to
27.
June 30, 27.
Except the one column is
Somewhat buried.
25.
Oh, you're saying, why isn't it in the left column? It's probably lumped in somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause this should really just reflect what we're gonna pay in 27.
Which one are you guys talking about?
750, it should be 450 annual cost. This is 750, it was a one-time fee.
I think I see what you're saying, Ken, you're asking, like, what account number does that fall under?
I don't need individual account numbers, it just doesn't, yeah.
It's somewhere in there, we know we've done
But
it.
it should be the 0.6 budget.
I don't think so, I'm thinking of codification, it's getting done for $750.
No,
No, that's just specifically for the website posting.
Mhm.
What's the 750 for the website then? Is that
It's
just,
just a one time to get it posted. And
no, on the below that, we're moving on from codification to website seven
that's the
fifty.
one time. So this should probably be 450.
Okay.
One of them should be 450.
Not that we're gonna sit around and debate $1,500, but just some
Yep.
clarity there.
Yep.
And then comprehensive plan, you mentioned at one point, is this the comprehensive plan, you're putting 20 in here
That's just an approximate. And
for
you
the
can spend-
whole entire
You can spend a
thing?
lot more, you can spend a lot less depending on who you work with.
Top to bottom, or I know at one point you had mentioned to me that you'd kind of split it between 2 budget years maybe,
Could
or,
be.
but this is just kind of what you're putting in for the 27 to get started on comprehensive
Yep.
planning?
Yep. And I
Okay.
think there's some monies available for 26 so that we could work on the RFP now and have them start,
Okay,
you know.
yeah, I was hoping to
June,
be starting
Have that go through the summer.
calendar, right at the beginning of the calendar year sometime on that, because we've talked about that.
2026.
I think there is some.
Okay,
Have that.
office supplies, down, that's good, good.
don't need to buy binder clips, paper clips.
I think we're good there.
Postage and shipping. Obviously, I'd like to revisit or have a further discussion about scoop costs. and
Yeah,
that.
cause that's, you know, if there's
That's
a
crazy.
page limit, I will honor that and then. Cause I think like the last 3 pages had like the days, a page and a half, like the days that we were gonna be closed and we had some discussion about.
Yeah, I think we could
Summarizing
reduce the
that.
number of pages.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's still worth it. You guys know I beat the drum for a real mail copy. Um,
I have a question about that. And maybe it's more of a legal question, but could we offer a sign up for the scoop? Maybe it's a horrible idea, but if the postage is 70 cents or something, or could we look at like, hey, you can elect to receive electronic or physical copy. If you elect to sign up for physical copy, it costs $5 a year to receive the physical copy of the scoop versus the electronic
And
copy.
you can make copies available at the.
I mean, can you charge the public for a physical copy of the scoop?
It's, you're gonna spend more in staff time chasing that down than it's worth. That goes back to dog tags.
No, I think it's really simple. I think with electronics, it's like you have a portal on your website and if
Yeah.
you send the notice out and if they pay the dollar and do that, then you do it or not.
about our 85-year-old residents.
Yeah, they don't wanna be nickel and dimed again.
Well, they don't know how to open a PDF on, if they have a computer, they can't read it on their phone. They're.
Okay.
What they would think about is seriously, you're making a 85-year-old
Okay.
retiree pay $5.
Well,
I think we could do the same thing in a better way, not at the expense of our elder residents.
I think the post office, I think the way it works is they gotta send to everybody or.
That's what I was gonna say, otherwise you go into a way different
Yeah.
bracket of
Mhm.
paying for the postage.
Yeah.
So you gotta have it all, knowing from what they do in the fire department, you gotta have it all.
Yeah.
Sectioned. And then you gotta have it all prepared for them as you take it in, and then then it's cheaper. But
You're gonna have to have it, you're gonna have to put a stamp on each one of them. If you're not doing it.
Yeah, and then you have to address them as
Versus,
well.
versus you.
But you're paying that already, right?
A bulk versus, right now what you're doing is you're buying a bulk permit that's very, very, very inexpensive.
It's worth every penny out of
Yeah,
the
I was
bond.
gonna
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
our biggest,
It's not a big item.
and you probably, I mean, through the hiring, kerfluffle, right? It was probably brought up to you 100 times about communication and,
Yeah,
you know, the
it
ability.
was just
to
a
get
thought,
Information to the city.
cause I think going
That seemed to be
paperless
like
is the future.
Best way to go. I'll say that I've got a couple of people on my board that are kind of excited to have a Parks and Rec
Designated
minute, a
spot.
little section that we haven't really had before, and that puts it on them and us to have content, but you know,
Perfect.
so we had a whole boatload of content for this, ready for this scoop, and then Nastia was like, let's do that in the spring, and I was like, sure, that's fine, you know,
Cool.
but
What
I think
about-
each department probably should have a little section.
What about the street? So noted, hear your opinions, appreciate them. Street banners.
Apparently there's some on Main Street that need to be replaced. And They're not cheap,
Okay,
like $300-400 a piece.
okay. Any questions for Jerry and
Is $9,000 enough when we spent,
Spent 12.
budgeted more in 25? We have spent
You
more
overspent already.
this fiscal year. Is $9,000 enough? Or
Right.
maybe it's just been a moving around of money.
I think it could be
We'll
that.
Leave that with you and Lindsay to sort out.
Since it's already lumped in miscellaneous.
Yeah,
I think the banners on Main Street are at office there.
I want to go to, if there's no more on that.
Yeah, seems like that'd be a,
It seems like it'd be a
Maintenance or
public works thing. Why is this even under City Hall?
Could be related to just Main Street. It could be, that could be economic development, you could argue too, I suppose.
It's just gotta fall somewhere.
It's gotta fall somewhere, so the, it could be, I mean, it could be, hey, community club, will you donate the street banners as well, I suppose, but it fits somewhere in our budget day, but
We'll see, we just found out we own a building officially, so we've done it pretty good at that.
Yep.
Since 2009.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while.
yep, I can help with that.
People with their handshakes around here, I'm telling you, I'm not shaking anybody's hand.
That one was at least official somewhere, it just took Sue finding it.
Some-
I wanna jump to mayor and council. One of the things we talked about, and that's not on here, was related to the emails. Would be a proponent of giving new council members access to an email that's officially in the city, that the city would have at least access to, or if we get, in theory, if we get an open records request, those emails in official capacity are public record. I think giving council members access to an email and then the ability to access cloud storage where folder sharing or whatever could exist with files is, I think, a good idea. I know you probably created your own or used your own personal, you've used your personal. I started with a personal, Sean personal all the time. It's not that I want to give anybody else another thing to manage or do, but when you go through the Iowa League of Cities training, they do recommend right in there that you separate the two
We do it.
For your own
too.
personal
Personal.
benefit and
Yeah.
protection.
City guys using their own phones versus
Yeah.
us giving them phones, it opens them up to a whole liability. I think it should be a no-brainer, but council should have.
So then that just, I think that just opens up another question, which is maybe more so for a new council than some of the new council, but I'm curious of this council's opinion on it is. Does that then mean, and this is a question I think Chad's been wondering, is does that mean then that everybody here, and you know, a lot of councils are going to this, they have a device right here that has all the documents on it? I know we have paper people definitely, and on this council who've been used to that process. But does everybody on council have a device here that when you come in, your agenda, all your items are here, or you can access them here? Do you go to where you're not every single time printing out all these copies and you're doing it all digitally? Joel's obviously done it on his own, but does it go that direction? And then what's the cost associated? Do you throw something in that budget now to say, hey, yeah, we are gonna buy?
At Prairie City, we all
Or
the council members and the mayor got a laptop, and it was city property, so when their term was up, it went back to the city. And they liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I just have my phone. That's why I want paper, because trying to look at that stuff on there. But I mean, if I had a decent tablet, I would be fine with that versus that big binder. It was nice to have all the stuff, but you'd still have that.
You're gonna be surprised. I would be supportive of that. And does it need to be a laptop? It can be a tablet, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, how much are Chromebooks? You know, just not much.
No,
You can get a good
and you're not
laptop.
gonna really have a lot of need to have a lot of power and storage and so on and so forth, because most stuff.
I don't want all this paper.
Most when you're.
This is nothing.
yeah, Ken's gonna hand you that actually, next meeting, at the end of next meeting.
You want?
So I think that's,
I think a laptop, instead of,
My eyes
it doesn't have high power, just set it up with a Microsoft Office and.
so I would just say, I think we should add a line item there and Chad should provide the some recommendations or cost estimates for that, and then the access to your basic Excel or Word or whatever.
Yeah, if we're gonna go devices, then you'd have the standard business standard, so you'd be looking at about $900 for 6 licenses for City Hall. And then you also have your devices that you'd have to buy and I think we bought the council one for, or the presentation one for $500.
Yeah, I think it might have been a little less than that even.
So, yeah, so I don't think it's gonna be.
There could be some used avenues or things like that. The only thing I think that needs to happen is it'd be really nice if by January 1st or by January 9th or after that meeting at the latest, before the February, the email access was created for those people that are brand new at least.
That laptop's fiscal year 27, so July.
I would say if you can investigate that, I think if we have to do an amendment or adjust that for that, it'd make more sense
You
from
might
their.
have laptops in some sort of case to protect them. It's obviously,
Yeah, we got.
Yeah.
You want to take them.
Is there gonna be one?
Like a soft one, like.
yeah, just something simple to protect them somehow.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure when we go to buy the licenses, we buy the right ones, because
We have outlets.
we buy them for the year, so I don't wanna buy the business basic where it's online access only. If we're gonna turn around and get devices, in 6 months on another new budget that we've done have.
I think we need to look at look at the device, provide the email access, segment it all.
We'd probably get the other guy to help get those set up to Craig, whatever it says in Craig. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
Get the devices set up.
I think even to just ask about what and where.
Is there gonna be a difference or preference whether they're Apple based or?
Everything else is Microsoft here, isn't it?
Everything else has just been Dell's, that we've been buying generally.
But Microsoft or.
Yeah, Microsoft.
The only thing I guess the question would be is I've always understood like an Apple product has a far more superior security. Versus like if you put all these laptops, then does that mean now you're $50 a month for your whatever McAfee protection on each one of those, or can you get away with?
They haven't been buying virus scanners and that type of stuff yet.
Okay.
When it comes.
It's gonna be one of the future things we're gonna have to worry about, but yes.
Okay,
Windows 11, last I knew was, so it's a good thing.
Yes.
That's just included.
that's
Now
what
it's
I'm
all-
hearing is the computers and if all the manufactured stuff is already building that in and you don't have to worry about
okay,
how much.
yeah.
And be careful what you click on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, I haven't had any problems here, but I've done that.
Okay, so Jerry and Chad will work together to get a line item in there.
And we authorize them to do that, how this year's budget is getting into the holiday season.
Well, we meet on Monday, so if you guys could join,
Just make it.
if you guys can take a look at that, yeah.
One thing I didn't see on here anywhere was, we talked quite a few times about cameras. Is that something coming up for this next budget?
There's been
I
discussion,
remember this
the
on-
fire department had it on there, but no quotes. You could spend, if there's varying price levels.
Right.
But there was an issue in Prairie City and we ended up buying cameras for City Hall, for the parks, for all the public buildings, and it was 130,000 to do all of that. So, and then, the consulting fees on top of that.
The thing I'll tell you, I think it's a great idea for places, and it's just where does it fit in terms of, is that a high priority capital project in my mind? The one thing that's come up for me twice, back-to-back weekends, has been access to a building. They forgot to pick up a key. So I go to like the access to the rentable facilities or our facilities from an electronic basis with the key code of being that. I've helped two people. One of them was for their Thanksgiving and they forgot to get the key, but they called me, of course, the mirror number, and I was able to get them in, but that folds into that. And from my perspective, I don't know what we paid when we changed the locks here, but it was a decent ticket. And it's like, man, if you have to do that every time, all the time, do you do that in a whole security circle?
Yeah, and Jerry and I talked about when you first started that electronic access to your buildings. We as the city probably need to come in and have some standards as far as, hey, when a department wants to have cameras or improve their security with that. We should actually be driving what you're going for, because what's gonna be acceptable to the easy to manage and maintain, and then if it's cloud-based or not, those type of things. We should be guiding those departments instead of the departments saying that, I need cameras. But if they're gonna do it, this is how it has to fall.
It's like on a great deal, it
So
seems.
it's all gonna be, it's all gonna be working together and so on and so forth, instead of having three different
Well,
vendors on
yeah.
cameras and so on and so forth. Same thing with your access.
should be some
Hard
uniform
access, and things like that.
And I think even, one of the things that came out of the pool season was there was some complaints about scenarios that occurred at the pool. It'd be really nice to have had the footage to substantiate or rebut
We had
those
the
incidents.
library, and I think the pool is the glaring issue in town. I mean, that to have, underage employees there and open to the public. And the possibility of life-threatening situations at a moment's notice and no cameras is really asking for it.
Although your attorney might say, actually, it's better to not have footage. That's more defensible than hard video evidence. But I agree I think having the cameras is wise.
And when, with Jen, obviously, and most of you guys remember, we had a fairly extensive workup on what the city would have for different phases of projects through one of the vendors that provided us a camera with the POC and did different things. And it's pretty high quality stuff. And, they're not a $1,200 Kmart special or.
It was $100,000+ system, right?
No, I don't think it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot.
It was 130 or 60.
That's on the place. There was probably.
That had the facial recognition and all types of stuff.
Through this, I should say track.
I know.
If you had a particular person who been known to cause problems, say Sean, and the different cameras, you could actually alert people when Sean comes into town or Sean's here. Oh God, Sean always causes a problem at City Hall. If we could know when he's here.
Yeah.
Another
Okay.
component that needs to be considered is who's gonna manage the information.
Oh, yeah.
Like at Prairie City, our police chief did that
Yeah.
faithfully. I mean, and his, the headquarters
And it also had
plastered with
redaction
screens.
and all that stuff too, so you could redact people's faces and for sensitive
Yeah.
information and stuff like that. There's things,
There's a lot to that.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
that's not the level I was talking about.
Is there anything else that was on your, we're coming down to one more meeting with you all, right? Or this is our second to last meeting. Is there anything else for the benefit of Joel, Craig and myself that is on you guys' minds? As if I were staying on, I would be pushing really hard on this, or this would be something that'd be a major priority to me.
And to add,
Me.
I think the
Capital
cameras are,
projects
not
as a
at
focus.
anywhere near that level.
Okay.
A recording that you could go back and search in a DVR and it's basically a Sam's Club system is all I'm talking about, but have at it.
Yep.
I think there's value in at least trying to figure out who trashes the bathrooms and.
Yeah,
And
That would be
whatnot.
nice.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
That's just the headline we need. Slater mayor busted for cameras in bathrooms. So all these Story County mayors have been getting these bad headlines.
Inside.
That's the last thing I want a part of.
Who was the last one in?
Is there anything, Sue, from your perspective? I know we need to settle out some stuff with the community center library and where that goes.
Get them direction.
The library,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that's, what are they gonna do with the money they have and just what's the next step for them?
And I know you're working on some clarity on log cabin stuff. And I think they're pending I heard that they're maybe waiting on hearing some of that to convene. To determine whether you're gonna fix the log cabin or whether you really have a need for a new place, so
The
it's
second 75,000 that we.
on that
still have in
portion.
Our account on the
To give.
150,000 that we gave to the community club or
Yep.
to the library.
Yep,
That if we get quotes on the building, that's gonna cost.
that could adjust
that
what,
could adjust what we give depending, cause they're probably gonna download or downgrade their plan to take out community center space,
yep,
obviously.
okay,
So if they do that, then we're like, well, we're not probably gonna be able to use this space unless you have program space that's big enough for us to do
add it in or something.
something with, but I don't see that happening. I see us continuing to be at the fire station for certain events. So,
Yeah, the only thing I just asked of it is just hey, if the solution is to move towards a new facility, that's fine, but help us. Let's make sure we vet the current space, the usability of that, the expandability of that, so that we at least have that assessment. And information to say that that's not a viable alternative, and so when we pivot to that, we have that step in place. Which I think is, everybody's agreed is okay.
It's fine, it's great, it's just we're not gonna get the community space we wanted, so.
Um. Anything from you, Sean, just that was like, hey, you said the direction on that, what are we doing there?
That's the big thing for me.
And then the last thing, a part of this process is you guys have been through a portion of it. Anything you, having been through some of it, that like, hey, the next time this would have really helped me, or the next time, maybe think about this.
The budgeting process?
Yeah, the capital improvement, the budgeting, or it didn't work. I thought it would work like this, but it's worked like this. Any sort of that feedback from where you're at so far in this meeting, since we don't have a crowd full of people and I can just take your comments or recommendations on next year. I think Jerry and I would obviously welcome and want to fix that.
I think another thing off that topic, would just streamlining the meetings. I think with Jared here, once everything gets rolling, you should be able to have a lot of this stuff done, get them a quicker meeting. Stop the noise in the crowd. When they're allowed to talk, be done. Just value people's time. I mean, well, obviously none of us are paid well to be here. Respect that. And just try to keep meetings moving, keep them efficient.
Is this group's, to that comment, is this group's perspective that run it with, you can talk during citizens forum and no more public comment after that on anything?
I think that's how it needs to go.
Mhm.
Like unless you,
Yeah. Craig, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I can't remember where I heard that some places apparently there's the public forum. And then if they sign in for a specific topic, apparently you can call them on that topic if it's
and I can see
something
that too.
something is on the agenda.
Okay,
I don't know how that works.
okay.
I honestly don't think it's a problem at all, with the exception of Alan Sudy.
It's
So I
truly
think whatever you're, you know. And it doesn't matter what you do, he's gonna push back and he's gonna interrupt, and so it just takes a
Yeah,
iron gavel.
I mean, the two meetings a
yeah.
year Fred comes to, he'll linger on, but he's given service to the community for years. I feel like he should be able to speak up a little bit. But when Alan's beating the same drum for 12 years that I've been involved actively here, I mean, been on for 8, but 12 have been coming to him, and it's the same thing, and he's wasted hours and hours and hours of people's money or time.
Yep.
For
Yeah, so I don't really think that's a real problem with our meetings with that glaring exception. And,
Yeah.
and, you know, we tried to address that with some changes in rules and, it only works if it's enforced, which, you know, you're doing more and more and more of as you go along.
yeah, I really struggle with, the one thing I've really struggled with the whole time is I really find it hard to imagine that you as a body here can sign up for this job and then basically tell a taxpayer they don't have the right to share comment.
Yeah.
Even though they're a taxpayer still, so I've always tried to give Alan the platform for the 3 minutes. It goes beyond that, I think, when he always wants to comment on every single topic, and obviously, you know,
Yeah.
you guys' patience is
Well,
more
then
than over a decade,
Well, can you explain that to me?
Yeah.
No, we can't explain it to you.
Over
We're
that
here to
time.
conduct a meeting.
for sure.
But
And maybe there's. Like, maybe you have to rule with an iron fist for a little while and remind people of what the rules are. Maybe there's something like Craig said, where if we have a rezoning on the agenda and you want to speak on the rezoning, you have to sign up in advance. And the 3-minute rule is always in effect.
We always take written comment, if people can send in.
Yeah.
And that actually is really effective. We had to do that up at where our lake house is, and our written comments were. When we wrote, actually took the time and wrote it to all the council members and sent it to all of them and went through those avenues, it was received super well.
Yeah,
Throwing your estimate with, department heads out here talking and giving input on any type of stuff.
no, I don't think when it's staff, I think I think we can always allow staff to provide
Yeah.
presentation on topics. I just am wondering, I have always seen these meetings conducted in a way where it's like, hey, this is a community,
Yeah.
you know, we welcome the input. And I get, it maybe boils down to one person. So I just wanted to ask, like, is your opinion that, like, is it consensus among you all, like, hey, shut it down and run it real tight as far as when public can comment, or is it more so, no, and I think it sounds like you're in agreement, there's maybe an offender that needs to be dealt with in a certain way, but the rest of it.
Yeah,
But I think the rest of it wide open. I mean, if somebody shows up in the back of the room and has a question, I don't have a problem with addressing them
Yeah.
and letting them ask their question, even if it's, I mean, that's just a question should come during the community forum time. But if it's like, whoa, wait, I don't understand what this thing's all about at all. But I didn't sign up or I didn't talk about that during community time because I didn't know what that agenda item even meant. I have no problem explaining that to a typical resident there.
Yeah.
If it's called on, if they're called on by you, or maybe potentially even the council, but certainly you as conducting the meeting. But I
Okay.
don't think that means that Alan gets to weigh in on everything
Topic,
that he
yeah,
wants to weigh in on. And so, and how do you control that? Well, you're the elected official. You get to choose who gets to speak and who doesn't.
yeah,
And that's really what it boils down to, in my opinion.
okay,
I say you grant them all the 3 minutes. Well, if they would take that away, I mean, I'd love to, but
yeah,
yeah, I think they have that right, but.
Right, until it gets to where to
3
attack
minutes.
somebody,
Well,
or it's
yeah.
the same topic,
yeah.
coming at it from another direction, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
You know, I'll
I
say,
appreciate,
it feels like we just got a lot of stuff going on. Your guys' agendas have been longer.
They have, and I think that will
And,
all come get shorter as
and we're doing a
More time
lot,
with Jerry
so
and
your
all
guys'
the staff.
discussion has been more.
our discussion is very big, very in depth.
And so.
I'm not
It'll
saying this is all.
wash out.
no, I get you, yeah, I'm not offended at all by it. I mean, I have been very lenient with him and I know that.
I think the whole process will get better with having Jerry and having full staff here, that a lot of this stuff can get condensed down, keep our meetings shorter.
And I would just say, items like this, I don't think needs to be included in our packet. I mean, the signature pages of things that we're bordering on, just to try to cut down on volume, even if it's not paper items. I don't think a lot of those really detailed things have to be in there.
But if it has to be approved by council, I don't wanna approve something that I haven't looked at.
No, I agree, but this
And,
is.
and that's
this
all
is-
to staff. I mean, I'm
Right.
challenged every time we have a line item, like,
Right.
okay, what does the council need to see? What would the mayor like to see? And I have to make those decisions.
Right.
Sometimes I put in more information than
No, and I think
less.
that'll happen. I think you'll tighten that up as you see what our but I'm just saying like this is the same form we've seen for 20 years as council. It's the same form that comes up at least 3 times a year. It's just a signature thing. I think that's just a consent agenda item, or even if it's an individual item, I just don't think we need paperwork to that effect in there for
Yeah.
something that's so standard and rote. And so that's
I think
that's
that's
all
perfect.
I'm saying, just trying to cut down on the volume, because honestly, it's just untenable for me to go through 70 pages of stuff between Friday and Monday's meetings.
How have
Yeah,
you
maybe.
found the memos to be on a topic versus the substance behind it? Does that create a lot of value for you when you can read a synopsis?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, all right,
Yeah.
Well,
Good answer.
I don't need to know all the detail, and I trust Jerry.
always hire people.
by reading the memo,
Yeah,
yeah,
right. I mean, it's just
Okay.
like I said to Lindsay during our budget discussion, it's like, no.
Right.
I don't want to know those details. I want to know that you've got it. And if you say you've got it, I can trust that.
And you want recommendations, right?
yeah,
Yes.
that's the thing that Peter brought up, yeah, so. This is the recommendation of staff.
Yeah.
And that one summary page would help a lot, and I guess if we're gonna go laptops and digital. Maybe the summary page is in the handout to the paper books. And if you want all the other, go look it up visually, it's there.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, you could have all your supportive stuff in another attachment and then your summaries.
Yeah.
And memos.
I think we can work through that for sure. I just wanted to vet some of
Well, I
those
think I think
questions
it's home, just like,
with time.
yeah, I mean, your direction of the meeting has changed over a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Really?
And I think Jerry will get a feel for what. And it doesn't matter what this council, he'll get a feel for what the next council wants or expects, which might be different. And especially to begin with, when a lot of it will be very unfamiliar material.
Perfect.
Now, at one time, we also had the public comment at the end.
Mhm.
Made some changes and then it came back to the front. Does anybody think there's any pros or cons one way or the other?
Let's move the end for one person.
I understood it to be moved to the end to make somebody have to sit through the whole meeting, and I was like, what do you do? I mean, what are you really doing? Cause those people wait till the meeting. I'd rather get the public comment out right at the beginning and move on.
And don't you wanna know what's on their mind?
as you go into the business discussion versus, yeah. I asked for it to be moved to the top again, cause every agenda I've ever seen, it's like you get that out of the way right out of the gate. Because you may be,
I just think your predecessor saw a different mechanism to, everybody else.
And it
had
gets
to
to the
listen, here,
importance,
let's-
you're serving the
You're gonna
people,
say
so
either way.
you're
Yeah.
addressing them first.
Let the people that wanna come in and get a comment and they've got other things to,
Yeah.
let them do their
Right.
business and leave.
Or sometimes it was, we're gonna talk about, do we want a fireworks ordinance? And we're gonna talk through that and then let citizens comment after we talk through it. Then it,
well, the citizens forum's almost defeated if you allow the citizens to comment on every agenda item that you want.
Yeah.
But it's also not productive if, you know, they comment at the very end after you've done all the business. So I think I prefer to allow the interaction, but I understand and respect the comment of like, hey, you gotta be careful with certain commenters and control the timeliness of that. And I think with Lindsay and Jerry, they can help with that a little bit on time and those things. And I think,
They have other avenues.
Yeah.
We'll always have an avenue to talk to us. It's not. we're not
Yeah,
approachable.
for sure. Okay,
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, same thing. I mean, we didn't have an agenda item about the snow notices that went out. If
Yeah.
public notices, if somebody comes in and wants to talk publicly about, hey, the hell's this sticker I got on my car?
yeah,
That's appropriate for a public forum. If they wanted to come in and talk about the budget, then we need to call on you, raise your hand, we call on you during that budget item that you have a specific question about, because we want that feedback. But there's otherwise not gonna be a time for you to present on your complaint about the sticker you found on your car, other than public. So just differences in what's on there. If it's on the agenda item, then sorry, you gotta stick around for that agenda item, or you might ask that we move that agenda item high,
higher,
further up
yeah.
the agenda so that you don't have to stay for a 3-hour meeting,
Okay,
to ask about the one item you care about. But that's hard to weigh. Well, whose time is more important? Then we're keeping staff here
agreed, yeah.
for 3 hours to do their staff reports. So it's nice that they can submit those and
Of
not
course.
have to be here.
I also think we need to be careful about when we're moving somebody to the top of the agenda. That we don't move some people and not others. I feel like we may have done that a time or two.
Only one time did we move an agenda item, so I'm assuming I know what you're talking about, but
It's happened more than once,
Yeah.
that we move something, and let's just be sure either everybody gets that gift or nobody does.
related to, when you say that, like staff related or?
No, for the convenience of someone out here, like we know this person is at the bottom of the agenda, but we'll move it up to the top so they don't have to stay through the whole meeting.
Yeah, no, that's not really my decision. I mean, you guys all have to approve that. The times that we've moved an agenda item up, it was approved
It
by
takes a
the
motion.
council.
It does take a motion.
That's fair enough.
So I think that control is all of ours, or your
Right.
walls
I
versus.
don't have a problem doing that if Chad would like his stuff moved up to the beginning of the meeting, on a 1-month basis, just because he's got a meeting he wants to go to, or a kid's event that he wants to go to.
Yeah.
Then we can move it up, but it's an exception to the agenda instead of a standard agenda
Adjustment,
item.
yeah,
And we're paying for Mark's time to be here from Snyder. I think it's ridiculous for them to be here and be the last agenda item on the thing while we're.
does he
paying
bill
them.
us for that? I don't think he bills us for
I
that.
don't think he has to.
Probably not, but it's just as an example.
Yeah.
And if he did,
Somewhere.
that would still be a reasonable charge.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
And I
Yeah.
do like that we have moved our department reports to coming from Jerry and that subtracting that from council agenda. From council.
Well, we're trying to do the weekly updates, which is
Yes.
Right.
That's gonna
90%
affect the
information
records
from
for
city
review.
departments.
And like not make our department heads come to all the meetings. I
Yeah.
think that's a
Awesome.
good thing.
I think it's.
Unless there's an item. A project.
That's up to you.
I think
But it's not a
nice,
requirement that
you know,
we
they
be
come
here.
once a quarter, but I don't think you need to drag them up
Yeah.
every month.
No.
and I think we do a pretty good job of when there's a big item that maybe their input's needed or valued, that we get them here.
Yeah.
Zach was here for the sewer conversation. I think
Yeah.
those type of things are good.
Yeah, and I think we need to put some pressure on the sheriff's department to have somebody show up. It's ridiculous. We're lucky if they show up 3 times a year anymore. They were here religiously every month for years. And they absolutely don't make an attempt to show up here at all anymore.
Yeah,
I think they've
I
been here
concur.
3 times since I've been here.
What?
I think they've been here 3 times since I came in July.
Yeah,
we'll see. They might be here on Monday.
so it might be quarterly.
The one other thing is, I will ask probably the new council to move our meeting dates to Tuesday nights. Same cadence, but on Tuesday night, just so we don't overlap with the school. And then I think there's a benefit. I felt like a lot of times things come up on a Monday. And I had this with past staff and current staff, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll have to kick that to whenever. If we move to a Tuesday cadence, it still affords us the time to make an agenda adjustment and
Is that
comply with
Tuesday at
24
10?
hours.
Tuesday. at 10
Comply
a.m.
with the 24-hour period, so I'll probably ask the new council to move and maybe even we make that adjustment on the Monday meeting. This council makes that adjustment for the new year. I don't think it makes a difference, but that way that affords staff an extra day for prep and curveballs. It also doesn't align us with the school board, because like the school was talking about a contract with us, but none of us could be represented in that.
Yeah, but you're always gonna conflict with another meeting, so.
Always, yeah.
You'll always be chasing that, but it, and I don't know, I find 5:30 to be a little bit,
Too early?
when I was working full-time, it was.
Yeah, it is. It was, yeah, it's early.
Actually, I was on pretty much a dead run from a bus route today to get here by 5:30.
Yeah.
That was,
Well, thanks for making it.
sorry.
Hopefully you drove the speed.
I just find 5:30 to be a little bit early for people who are working at 8 to 5 jobs.
Yeah.
That's gotten to be a lot less.
And I think that's just for this was just a one-off for this workshop to try to,
Because there was so much.
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll
No.
stick to the 6.
But yeah, no, and yeah,
It's just feedback.
I
I
think
think.
we did 5:30 for a while anyway, though.
It was
It was 7,
7:30.
used to be 7, used to be 7. Yeah. I was like, no.
I'm here at 6:30.
Tuesday meeting.
Yeah,
I start at 7.
I think we would still need our packets
Friday.
on Friday.
agree.
Yeah.
And I want
We
the
can't get them
staff
Monday.
to feel like you have permission to have a deadline of, here's the deadline that all business has to be into us, so we have time to
Right.
prepare packets. That is fair, and you,
As long as that's supported. With it.
well,
Yeah,
I
wouldn't have
feel
any problem
strongly
with
that you need to have that
Yeah.
freedom and ability to do your job well. And so have it, whatever the cutoff needs to be, make your job doable.
Well, I think like for me, it would have been helpful, and I'm, again, partly because I'm a paper guy, but I would have happily stopped up and got whatever was available on Thursday, because honestly, some of the stuff you have could easily be printed a week in advance of our once a month meeting. And
Then it's just a matter of keeping track of all the
Right,
new
exactly.
additional, and then
Right.
sometimes, okay, what's been
Yeah.
changed here?
Right.
Well, okay, there's
Right.
quite a bit.
And the same thing, I mean, you're gonna might have some stuff that comes up on Monday that gets changed for Tuesday, then obviously we do those changes, but,
That is one thing I would comment, especially if we're doing budget things and we need time to study. If a change shows up on our desk when we get here, it's hard for me to assimilate that. So I hate to push stuff back another month, but
Once the packet's out, it's out.
unless it's something really matters.
Yeah, I think the
I-
reality,
there's a lot of minor
On today's, I went through a bunch of the budget and then an adjustment came out.
I think the reality too is, I think the council packets have come later in the week than what the intention is of when those were to come. I think that's operating from a place of no historical context and trying to research it to be able to be prepared for it. I'm hopeful that, a Thursday complete packet is a viable thing
For a Tuesday meeting.
for a Tuesday meeting in the
5
future.
days before the meeting.
Basically, three full business days. With the exception of, last minute curveballs, but if we do set a deadline of, if your staff meeting is, when's your staff meeting?
Thursdays.
So if your Thursday, 2 weeks prior to the meeting is the cutoff for agenda-based items, then that gives you Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to prep.
well, it also doesn't mean there couldn't be a change, but then at least I'm not gonna have to print out 70 pages. I can print out just those 3 pages that changed in that meantime for a digital heads up, you know what I mean? I don't mind doing that. I just don't wanna print out the 70-page packet because I'm a paper guy.
Some of the business will become more predictable too after going through it all, and the budget, like budget things or capital, if we get those plans right out of the gate, there'll be less volatility hopefully throughout the year of what and when, so. I appreciate everybody's feedback, and appreciate everybody's service. Thank you for that, and always obviously welcome more of that. If you have thoughts or things that stick up that are things, hey, we should have done this, or we talked about doing this and we didn't, we welcome that. It's 8:38, so I'd take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, everybody.